We addicted to fast cars, bad bras, late nights, last calls, alcohol, bad bitches scrolling through the phone log, hit them up, all my pick them up. We bout to have a time tonight. Sure you keep that burner tuck, cause niggas like to creep low. Say motherfuck the PO and the judge. But if they come with us, just know it's love. I'm saying just because. Yeah. Cause we been coming from welfare, Medi-Cal, healthcare, living in the hood is hell here, hell yeah. I'm saying just because. Love. I watched my mama and my daddy struggle with the bottle. I watched my cousins and my brother banged out full throttle. Driver's seat, we bout that action, we ain't sitting idle. And even when they melanated, still a rival. I ain't about killing, but I'm about survival. And we be praying to the Lord, but still ain't read the Bible. And put that pedal to the floor with a savage title. Hope we don't crash out. Shawty out, seeking attention, she got that out.
What is freezing? Does he know you using that?
I can't hear you. You're muted. I can't hear you, and neither can anyone else. You're muted. You're sitting there jaw jacking.
You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. Am I muted now?
Not anymore. You're too loud.
Okay, thank
Do
you.
something about that mic volume.
Like I was saying, welcome everyone to another episode of Unapologetic with Mandrell and Shu
This
Shu.
is why people say you're not
I am
submissive.
your lovely host, Shu Shu. And, you know, this is my help, Mandrell.
Yo, help. Excuse me, ma'am.
Needs the help.
You saw what happened on the pier, right?
And what you mean? We both
Riverfront Park.
What you want to do? What you want to do?
I'm trying to tell you, people think it's sweet in Alabama, don't they?
Listen.
No, the George Floyd stuff and the philanthropy. R.I.P. to those young brothers, but that ain't happening here.
Yeah.
This weekend, people. That's why we don't have those problems here. That's why we don't have those problems.
Yeah.
Just saying. That's why we don't have them problems.
I mean, we just being real. It was a special, unique situation, but it was an example to our people how we do need to come together more. We do need to stick together more. So, you know, that definitely is a moment that will go down in history.
Yeah. if you're an outsider coming with that racist nonsense, that's fine. We're gonna help you out with that.
Oh Lord.
We're gonna help you out. Hey, you know some of the people from Tulane Court?
I'm not surprised.
I found out, yeah.
Tulane Court here is it's a hood neighborhood. Okay?
No, it ain't.
It's
Tell the people the truth.
Very urban.
It's Section 8 housing and foreclosure. The projects. They get active out there, people. They get active.
Yeah. So people who have a reputation for being from Tulane Court, you know, they have a reputation. You know not to mess with them. They have a chip on their shoulder. So yeah. With that being said, welcome everybody. We want to give a special shout out to the chats. Thank you everybody for rolling through. Let's see who we got in the building. Corey Hager. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you as always for coming through. Von Bryant, what's going on? Peace, joy, and prosperity to you as well, brother. Thank you for coming through. Blackman, Unfiltered. Thank you for allowing us to, you know, have this show on your platform. We appreciate it. Who else we got to hear? The world class. What's going on, Noble? Hashtag Team Noble, you know.
Well, you're not hashtag that guy.
We got Anissa.
You're not team that guy.
How are you, girl? Thank you for coming through. We appreciate you. Your love and support. Who's got Butters the God? The God, honey. Yes. Thank you for being here. Who else we got in better? Let's see. Jedi Mike, what's going on, Fred? How you doing? Go Mom. He said, "Upright."
And I'd like to say this for everyone who enjoyed the Battle at the Riverfront. Okay, that's what we call it down here, the Battle at the Riverfront. Yeah, that's actually a thing.
Yeah,
because I got out about town
at
today.
the Alabama Tea Party.
Some people are, but they're like, yeah, the Battle at the Riverfront.
People back in the water.
Yeah.
Yo, it's crazy. He said all hands on deck and foot and fists and elbows and knees all on deck. You better know it.
And chairs. People keep asking, where did he get the chair? You know, white people asking me, where did he get the chair? I'm like, he got it off the boat.
Blackman says
like,
it's a national holiday now. Bama Brawl in 2024.
Yeah, it's going to go down in history books as the battle at the Riverfront.
Okay. Oh, and shout out to, is it Ojor Kalfani? I think that's how you say it. I'm sorry if I'm messing your name.
No, he's African. He understands. He gets it all the time.
Thank you for coming through. Sugar Bomb, what's going on, girl? How you doing? Thank you for being here. Mr. Bennett, how are you? Thank you for being here. We appreciate you so much. And Yusuf Benjamin, thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Hope you guys will be up on the panel later. And the Scam Likely Show. What's going on, Scam? Dust. Let me see who else we got. I think that's all that's all this in the chat for right now. Thank you guys so much for being here, and all who are watching from the clouds. Thank you guys for being here also. So I'm just getting straight to it. You saw the thumbnail.
We got another person, new person, Harold Cordero.
What's going on, Harold? Thank you for coming through. He said it's his first time over here. Well, thank you for coming over. We appreciate you. Yeah. So hopefully you guys take something away from this conversation. First and foremost, let me add a disclaimer. This conversation isn't to offend anyone, and it's just to kind of give an open perspective, and hopefully offer a solution to what's going on. And because it is a very sensitive topic, people have a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings towards when you talk about the LGBTQ community. And so we're going to get right into it. Mandrell was a little bit hesitant about this topic. And he asked me, was I sure that I want to talk about it? I was like, yeah, I am sure I want to talk about it, because the thing is, it's three major things that I keep hearing, like when I hear conversations about the LGBT community, and it particularly really kicked off when the whole Just Hilarious and the who owns womanhood and like women don't own periods and stuff like that the trans woman said. So we're gonna get right into it. So one of the topics is like I said, it was three main topics I really want to touch on. First things first I want to talk about is homosexuality unnatural, because I think a lot of times the first thing I hear when people actually start trying to have a conversation with people from the LGBT community on panels and stuff like that is the first thing, at some point they throw spirituality in it, like God doesn't like it, or even take spirituality out of it. Oh, it's a crime against nature. Well, I have a video from a scientist who's actually breaking down studies that they've done, because in the scientific community they've done study after study after study and research after research on number one, is homosexuality natural? And, how does one become homosexual or even heterosexual? And so, Admin, if you would cue up the video, in this particular video, that's what you're going to see. We have a scientist actually explaining and breaking down a little bit of homosexuality and is it natural? So,
yeah, shout out to Andre Terry.
What's going on, Andre? How you doing?
Roll the video.
Yeah. bear with us for a second. So sometimes,
sometimes it's a delay, but I love it. Battle of the Riverfront. Fantastic.
All right.
Somebody's gender role or sexual orientation simply by looking at some of the components. Evolution would naturally favor heterosexuality because that's how you get babies. And so if we're thinking about genes trying to produce genes, it would make no sense to have genes that would lead to people who don't reproduce, because those genes would not be reproduced. That said, we know cross-culturally gay people exist. So we know that that's a natural variation in the population. And so then scientists ask the really interesting question, why is that there? Why does that not disappear over time? Because, at least in theory, that should lead to lower reproductive fitness, which means it should lead to fewer babies. And so it should fade out, evolutionarily speaking. One possibility is that it's a side effect, that human variation is good for the species, and so evolution is responding to the situation not by reducing necessarily everything that doesn't work, but saying, let's keep throwing up variation, and some of it will work in some environments and some of it will work in other environments. Being a varied species makes a species more resilient. So it may be the case that being gay, if you're born that way, is just a variation on a theme, and it will show up every now and then just because variations show up. But some scientists find some evidence that there may actually be advantages to a family of having a certain percentage of the children be gay. And this is work done, for example, by Paul Vasey at the University of Lethbridge. And he's been looking at the population in Samoa as well as other places. But Samoa has a cultural system that actually recognizes that a certain percentage of the boys are going to grow up to be androphilic. They're going to be interested in men sexually. And they actually have a whole cultural system for it. They have a third gender category called the Fa'afafine, and when a boy, it becomes evident, is that kind of boy, the child is raised as a girl and becomes a woman, culturally speaking, but doesn't change her body at all, but partners with men. So in our culture, that would be called transgenderism, but in this culture, it's a third gender category that absorbs what in our culture might just turn out to be gay men. And what Paul has found is that when he looks at the families that have Fa'afafine within them, the Fa'afafine are not using up a lot of resources because they're not themselves having children. These are big family cultures. But they do take their own earnings and they direct it at their nieces and nephews. And that means you have more adults producing more resources for a smaller number of children. So biologically, there may be an advantage for families to have a certain number of gay children because those people will not reproduce, but they will take care of the nieces and nephews. And so overall, the population, the genetics of the family will be continued on because that family has a genetic advantage. And, when you think about it, we have this sort of stereotype of the gay uncle who takes care of the nieces and nephews in terms of providing for them and providing extra resources. And they're not spending it on their own kids, they're spending it on their sisters and brothers' children. That might be a possible evolutionary explanation for why it is that we see homosexuality persist in the human system. It's also the case, we know from work done by Ray Blanchard in Canada, that a certain number of men who will grow up to be gay get that way not through genetics per se, but they get that way in the womb. So it's inborn but not genetic. And what happens is apparently, we know statistically from huge studies now, if a mother has lots of pregnancies of males, every successive male will be a little bit more likely to be gay. So the farther down you go in that sibling chain, the more likely it is that the later born males will be gay. So this has been studied in many populations in the world, large numbers, and it's rigorous. We know that this is true. So why would that be? Well, it looks like it's a kind of side effect. The mother's immune system appears to be reacting to male hormones and maybe dampening them down a little bit. And this results in something called the fraternal birth order effect, which is that later born males are more likely to be gay. It's a surprising finding because it suggests to us that some men are absolutely born gay, but not because of genetics. They're born gay because of the birth order, in terms of some sort of effect having on a woman's system, which is reacting to her children's system, and it only occurs in males. It doesn't occur in females. And that's part of the reason why the theory is it's an immune response, because it doesn't occur with females. It only occurs with males born out of the same womb. So that's something I've colloquially called womb gay, but it's called the fraternal birth order effect.
The fraternal birth order effect. Okay, so you guys, I know that was a mouthful. But like I said, understand this. Scientists haven't just started studying homosexuality and how it occurs. After many studies, actually, you got some scientists that just chuck it up to it's a spectrum. It's you know.
Yeah, to be perfectly clear, people, scientists are not saying that gender is a spectrum. They're saying sexuality is a spectrum.
Right.
Gender is very binary, male or female,
Right.
unless it's in the case of a
Hermaphrodite.
rare mutation, which is a hermaphrodite when they're born with both genitals, both reproductive organs. You know what I'm saying? But that's in extremely rare cases. Now, these scientists are saying you're simply born that way. No one's made that way or turned. They're not vampires.
Mm. Right.
It's interesting though. The birth order, the birth order thing is what got my attention.
Right. Yeah.
It might be she's saying that they're not sure yet with these findings, but they're just like, okay, it might be an immune response.
Right. Well, yeah, they're not sure exactly what depends on what causes it, but they are sure they have enough evidence to know that it occurs, that it happens. It's not like a once or twice thing that it does occur. And they're not sure exactly what causes it though in the womb.
Yeah, they're guessing right now that this might be an immune response
Yeah.
on the behalf of the female.
Right.
If she gives birth to so many children, male children,
Right. Yeah.
the more male children she has, the more likely one of them's going to end up being gay.
Right. Right.
Okay.
So
I mean, it might be who's to say?
mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I
and
don't think
this isn't like, like one this is like only one study and like that they've done, like one particular like the birth order effect itself, but
yeah, it's not one study. There's a lot of studies that's been
it's other studies that have been done about homosexuality and what makes one gay, so to speak. So it whether people want to believe it or not, there are all kind of like, for one, the one that scientists just explained that could cause, bring someone to be homosexual. They're also like, upbringing, sexual assault, molestation can bring about, homosexuality in people. It's all kind of things like
but that one though, the abuse one.
Mm-hmm.
That one, I think that's for the most part. If it happens when they're in childhood, right? I think that confuses kids more so than anything else.
Yeah.
Because there are some kids that happens to that aren't actually gay.
Right.
So I would think that there are people out there who are actually born gay. It was not their choice. They had nothing to do with it. They didn't choose to be attracted, because that's what makes you gay, is the attraction to the same sex, the same gender.
Right.
You're sexually attracted to the same gender. So, but there are some people who are not attracted to the same gender, but do have gay sex. And it's because of trauma that they experienced as children. And now they're all confused. Like, is this wrong? Is it not wrong? I don't know. You know what I mean? So some kids, because remember we had Conscious TV and Reckless Logic on?
Right.
I think one of them said that in cases where kids are abused, if that kid was gay or gonna be gay, the trauma from the abuse triggers it sooner than it would have been.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then there's other people who choose to participate in gay sex just because they're experimenting or whatever.
Yeah.
But there are people who actually like flat out born gay. You know what I'm saying? You like what you like, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I don't hold anything against.
And one thing too is like, a lot of people say it's because I've heard it said like it's a crime against nature, meaning that it's not natural, it's not naturally occurring. Well, here's the thing. Even in the beginning of the video, she says, evolution naturally favors heterosexuality because of reproduction, right? But ever so often it does like throw up, different variables. You know what I'm saying? So my point is, if it were so bad, if it were so horrible, then evolution would have phased it out. But it hasn't. Homosexuality has been here for centuries. It's still here, and it ain't going nowhere. So, you know, I mean, whether you want to accept it or not, it is what it is. But the bottom line is, you know, it happens. Like even in other cultures and stuff like that, we know that, like for instance, in the Samoan culture, they have a whole like group, a separate group with that of people they call the Fa'afafine. That's what she referred to it as.
Yeah.
And where they know a certain percentage of the population is going to be born that way. And so they have a whole, like, you know, a separate gender for them. And they know that, like, once they see those traits, like, they go ahead and, you know, embrace that and help them with that. So, yeah, that's.
Check this out. Sherwin Thomas asked us, so are y'all saying God made a mistake? No. Well, listen to the video. The video, the scientist in the video told you, sometimes nature makes a species more resilient by throwing in different variants and variety within that species, right?
Because the more variety a species has, the more resilient it is.
The more resilient it is. And all we're trying to sit here and ask and wonder is it that members of the LGBTQ community, are they the variants? You know what I'm saying? Or that makes us more resilient? You know what I'm saying? They might be. It might be one of those curveballs nature threw at humanity and like, okay, man and woman, that's been going on long enough. I'm bored now. How about this? You know what I'm saying? I mean, and evolution would have, what she also said is, if they were so wrong, the evolution would have phased them out by now.
Right, and it hasn't. So it's like, you know, it's still here. So it has to be here for a reason or a purpose. So is it a crime against nature? No, because nature keeps recreating it. So it's here for a reason.
Thank you. They keep being born.
Right. So, you know.
I mean, I don't think nature thinks it's wrong. Nature keeps making them.
Right. Exactly. So with that said, the second thing I know I keep hearing, as far as like there being, a gay agenda, I think what really brought this topic back up is because of the whole, you know, what is a woman, like that documentary, and the whole thing where the trans woman, you know, spewed out that rant about, you know, biological women don't own periods and
but they do though. They do.
And womanhood.
They do though. They do.
Yeah.
Biological women own periods. They own womanhood.
Mm-hmm.
It is theirs. So when it comes to that topic, I think the transgender community is gonna have to find something else to own.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I'm saying? They're gonna have to find something else to own. That belongs to the ladies.
Right. Well, let me say this, you know, and let me be clear. I understand everyone in the trans community doesn't feel that way.
That's fine.
So, you know, this is specifically for that particular trans woman who spewed those comments. And you know, you do have some other trans women that feel that way. But the bottom line is this, you know, there's a boundary and there's a line. And like when you say things like that, that's completely disrespectful to biological women. It is. You know, you can't want respect, but then disrespect people. You know what I'm saying? Especially a gender that you are, you know, now converting to or a part of. You know, you just can't do that. Something else I wanted to address. There is a YouTube creator named Funky Dineva. He's actually one of the co-hosts of Fox Soul's TGIF. And but he still has his YouTube channel. I've been following him forever, and he made a video about it. And in his video, he was saying how he didn't understand it, because initially he thought women were just mad because they were, you know, using the term cisgender. And he was like, okay, so if cisgendered is such a problem, then we just stop saying it. We'll just stop saying cisgender. And then he was like, but even in the uproar and like all this Montreal going on, he still didn't understand what the underlying issue was. And so he and his co-host were having a back and forth in a group chat, and Claudia Jordan, she's one of the hosts.
Oh God.
But no. But she broke it down and finally articulated to him what the issue was. And after that, he could actually understand and get with, okay, now I understand why you're upset.
Why is Claudia upset?
And I have a clip of that so you guys can hear it for yourself. So admin, go ahead and cue up clip number 2. So he'll be reading the actual message from his phone.
Then I wrote to Claudia, I think a lot of women are being labeled transphobic because they can't clearly articulate why they are mad. So it leads one to think, oh, they just mad because they hate the trans. I am fairly smart, and not until probing you did I even begin to get an understanding of why y'all are mad. And then here was the shift in my thinking, because I want to show y'all this long ass paragraph that Claudia sent me that I'm about to read to you. And this is when I then understood what the fuck all going on. And now I got y'all back because I understand what's going on now. You got to make folks understand. So Claudia wrote, imagine me telling you that something that bothers you as a gay man shouldn't be a big deal, because I don't think so. You'll be like, girl, bye. It's misogyny from gay, straight, and trans. First, we don't own womanhood. Then we got to change breastfeeding to chest feeding, not to offend the trans. Then told, bitch, if you get raped and you get pregnant, you don't have agency over your body anymore because men said so. I know that's not a community thing, but it's all adding to the mounting pressure and outrage we feel because we are under attack. Then we get told from the likes of Saucy Santana that we get our femininity from gay men working in glam or from trans women. Then we get told we're miserable for expressing ourselves, and if we don't explain it perfectly or clearly in a way that y'all accept, then we are just mad and bitter because we're somehow jealous. It's just maddening, Funky. So yeah, we are feeling a way, and it's been building up for a while. Then we got to shut up and watch trans women in our sports now starting to win beauty pageants, being booked and replacing female models. And then let us not forget Caitlyn Jenner was awarded Woman of the Year. Those are just a few examples that I didn't say the other night when you asked me what are we losing and being told we don't gatekeep womanhood. And it feels and sounds crazy. Remember, folks were trying to say the song Natural Woman was offensive. It's like, what else? I feel like we're constantly being trolled. Black women are tired, and it feels like betrayal because most of us have been besties of someone from the community in a real way, not an accessory like on reality TV. And all of a sudden, we are the enemy, and any pushback we offer is deemed transphobic. It feels crazy. She said, I'd say we're more hurt than mad, and I'm tired. Al then chimes in and says, that's a lot to unpack. And shouts out to Claudia for explaining that. And then here is what I wrote. I said, and the way you just spelled this out to me, I now understand. Again, because I am not a woman, I simply did not get it. There is no way I could. But in fairness to me and others out there, I can't really get behind you and help champion your cause if I don't know what the issue truly is. All us outsiders are seeing is a bunch of black women upset, hollering, but no one is articulating why. After your statement, my eyes have been opened and I 100% now understand. And then Al wrote back facts, and then, we had some more discourse, and that was the end of it. I 100% get it now. I'm not a woman. I'm not a woman. So when I hear the stories about the breastfeeding stations, the Caitlyn Jenner wins Women of the Year, the breastfeeding stations, none of that shit impacts me. I hear it, I'm like, oh, that's some bullshit. Then I go back to my refrigerator, get some Kool-Aid, and trying to find me a cold pickle egg or something. When she explained it to me, it's like, oh shit, I get it. At this point now, I 100% get it. I can now stand behind y'all and be like, yeah, I understand it now. But for me, all I was getting was a bunch of rah, 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 da, 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 da. And then you got to understand my position. I'm already on edge when it comes with the phobia because I'm a black gay man who exists in the black gay community. So I already come to this conversation with the predisposition of phobia because that's the lens by which I view the world. That's a whole nother video, and we're not even gonna get into that. But we not finna sit up here and pretend like the black community is the most welcoming place for anything outside of what's acceptable in the Baptist church. All right? So that's that on that.
Okay, yeah. And we're back. So yeah, I know there was a lot to unpack. And for
Not really.
I mean, yeah, but for anyone who, especially like, the LGBT community who didn't understand why women were so upset. And I guess because no one actually took the time to actually like explain it without like, a bunch of like anger. A lot of people didn't understand or get like why they so mad.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Black men been telling black women that y'all been used by, these movements, the LGBTQ movement. I'm not talking about the community, not talking about the community, but these so-called movements, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, LGBTQ movement. Black men been telling black women, look, y'all need to cut that shit out. They're using you for the longest time. And lo and behold, now whoever the powers that be are, they've turned the LGBTQ movement against black women. And again, black women get the shorty end of the stick because you don't follow your men. When we tell you these things, we don't know what we're talking about. You don't tell me what to do, blah, blah, blah. All we ask for a little cooperation, ladies, and look at where you are now. Now you're looking for black men to help you out and fix it. Like we always do.
No, women are fixing it.
Oh, women. You knew? Yeah, I know, because we're going to make you fix it.
Whatever. So
this is what you get for not listening.
Wait. You
didn't want us to fix it? You go fix it now. And see how this shit feels when you have to actually fix a problem.
Oh, well, yeah. So so ultimately, I guess for those who don't understand, like, yeah, it turns into like, even though trans women, we acknowledge trans women as women, they show up in public and we still embrace them as a part of women or the woman community, I guess you can say. But at the same time, like it has like crossed the line. Like once it gets to a point where we're told, what being a woman is, we're told what femininity is, we're told like, this and that. And ultimately what it turns into is you still have a man, even though he's converted to a woman, telling women what womanhood is and policing us and what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, here's where I agree with you. I don't think anyone should tell a woman what a woman is except a woman.
Right.
Now, and I mean this in the sense that you must be born female. Born female in order to know what a woman really is. If you're born male, there's no way to know what a woman is really. You don't have the same body chemistry. The hormones are different. You know what I'm saying? And all of that does matter. The body chemistry governs a lot. So what people do is, really what it is, it's a mimic. You're mimicking what you observe. Your observation of what womanhood is and what women do, how they speak and things like that. And when he was reading the letter, I've never heard some of the stuff. I've never heard members of the LGBTQ community say to women. Some of it I have heard, some of it I haven't. Like, I don't get how a transgender person can tell a woman what womanhood is. I'm like, no, see, that's where you're going wrong. Be who you want to be. I don't care. Because I'm indifferent to the whole LGBTQ. I'm indifferent.
Right.
Love who you love.
Right.
Are you happy? Good enough for me. So, but the thing is, when they're telling women how to be women,
Well,
I don't.
I think a lot of it, what it is where the problem comes in is you have some members of the trans community specifically who want to be seen as or treated as a biological woman, right? They want to be the same as a biological woman, and acknowledged as though they are a biological woman. But listen, and I'm trying to be as sensitive as possible to this. I, as a biological woman, I am a part of, the woman collective, which means, within the woman collective, we have Black women, we have white women, we have Asian women, we have Latin women, and, we are all women, though, at the end of the day. So there are some things that we do have in common, but we also all know that based upon our, certain attributes that we have, all women don't have the same advantages in life. All women don't have the same, certain things other women can get away with that I can't. We also know that, what's going on here? And certain things, like for instance, you look at pretty privilege. Some women can get farther in life and they get opportunities that the average everyday woman can't have solely because of what they look like. It's not fair. But it is what it is. But they're still a part of the woman collective. For trans women, I will say this, even though we are embracing you as a part of the woman collective, you still have to understand there's still a part of you that is just, it's different. It's not the same. It's not. And that just is what it is. It doesn't mean that we don't accept you. It doesn't mean that, you can't sit with us. None of that. It just means that you have to understand that it is different. Bottom line.
Yeah.
So, that just is what it is. The next video I have is actually from a member of the trans community, who isn't necessarily a favorite in the trans community, I will say.
I think I know who it is.
Yeah. So,
yeah, Michael. Look, if we get some people if we get some people from the queer community, as it's called, and I get that from gay people, they said it's okay to use that to refer to LGBTQ community, right? Mm-hmm. So if we get some of them up here, I want to know, what is the rub with Flame Monroe? Why is that person so ostracized and hated? You know what I mean? That's what I want to know. Like, I want to hear from them.
Because a lot of them, they feel like a lot of the things she says, incites violence against trans women.
How?
And it's not. I think a lot of it is because there's certain things that people don't want to hear, and Flame says it, and they don't like it. So bottom line is, Flame Monroe is a transgender woman, but the difference is Flame is, he understands he's still a man. You know what I'm saying? He understands that he dresses up, and I go around as I present myself as a woman, but underneath I'm still a man, and I accept that. But you have some people who, like I said, before my last statement, you have some trans women who, even though they may have not gone through the reassignment surgery, they still, have male parts, but they still want to be seen as a biological woman. You know what I mean? And Flame is when he talks about that, I'm not a biological woman. That's the bottom line. And a lot of you all aren't either. And, and people don't want to hear that. That's the bottom line. People don't want to hear that. But and he made a very interesting statement in a live feed that he did. And he shows a clip when he was on the Breakfast Club talking about, transgender women. And he got a lot of flack for this. And so admin, go ahead, cue it up, because we're going to talk about it too. Sorry, y'all. It takes a second.
Yeah. And while we're waiting for the video to start, think about this, people. I got a question. Why everybody hating on Ice Spice?
Ice Spice?
Yeah. Why everybody hating on Ice Spice?
I have no idea.
I hadn't heard any of her music, but all I keep hearing is just how people just.
I stand with Jess.
Mute your mic,
I
Mandrell.
stand with women. And many of my trans sisters got an issue with who I stand with. You don't fuck with me no way. Guess what? I don't fuck with no bitch that don't fuck with me. And again, let me take y'all back to some shit right quick. Let me take y'all back to some shit. Because ain't shit wrong with me. I just look like this. Ain't shit wrong with Mother Goose. She just look like this. Let me take y'all right back to it. Until let y'all know again that you cannot outgirl a girl when you was born as a boy. You cannot outgirl a girl when you was born as a boy. And stop talking about what women can't bear children. You trainee bitches ain't finna have no goddamn kids no way. And some of the ones I know that do have kids, you don't even take care of your motherfucking kids. You just want to holler, I got some kids. I got kids. Yeah, but you got kids. Who taking care of them?
You gotta understand. I'm attracted to a beautiful woman, not the sexual organ. Nigga, the lies you tell. The men who are attracted to trans women feel like the bigger you are, the bigger you are. They're not attracted to us because we're beautiful women with breasts. In their mentality, they feel like I'm not with a man because you got all the feminine parts, but you still got that tool that I need. That's just real of it. And I know some of my sisters gonna be upset with me, but bitch, y'all ain't gonna do shit. See, that's why.
Hey, did you hear mother say y'all ain't gonna do shit?
But y'all ain't gonna do shit. It was a mess. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. Yeah. So like I said, Flame is very vocal about the fact that he still has his penis, his male part, and he understands that for men who are attracted to trans women specifically, they in their mentality, and he just explained it like on he explained on the Breakfast Club, you have a woman on the outside, but they still have a tool. You know what I mean? And that is what it is, and a lot of that, like the exterior, allows for I'm not even gonna go there, but yeah, what you think?
Yeah, here's the thing. It's the feminine look, I think, that guys are attracted to when it comes to the transgenders. Like that's what Flame was saying. You see the woman on the outside, but guys, straight guys, he or she is saying straight guys fool themselves saying that, oh no, it's the feminine look on the outside that I like. It ain't the tool, but no.
Right.
No. So I think those guys who are attracted to transgenders like that, they are gay too, or bisexual at least, because like, I don't care what you say, a transgender can look just like, and I've been to Brazil. There's some transgenders that really do look female, but the second you find out they're transgender, you're like, no, thank you, not with it. Because if you do anything with a transgender, you're gay,
right?
Because now you know what I'm saying? Like it's
right, yeah.
Because now you know that was born a male, and if you're not into it, you're just not into it.
Yeah,
and there's nothing and no one that can change that.
Bottom line is this, and I allowed that for a reason. The men who are attracted to trans women are attracted to trans women for a specific reason. You know what I mean? They have something that biological women don't.
Why would you want it though if you're not gay?
But the bottom line is this: like I said, they have something
they gay.
biological women don't. Well, a lot of that is because they know they still get ridiculed in society for showing up like with a man, like something man that looks like a man. So
yeah, but there's still understand it's the attraction. After you found out that person's a transgender, you're turned off. As a straight man, I'm completely like it's like a light switch. Done.
Right.
Over. Right. Never to return. You know what I'm saying? So it's like so that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, Like,
Well,
I don't understand how anyone can
I
go
said that
through
to
it.
say this. I said that to say this. Really, I added that in there to say this. There's no competition between straight men, biological women and transgender women. The men who like trans women like them for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's gay.
You're right. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If that's what you like the same tool that you got.
Right.
You are, in fact, you're gay or at least bisexual.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You got to admit that. You're at least, at minimum, you're bisexual. But I think it's a bit more than that. I think it's something you wanted to try for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
Then the opportunity knocks, you run over there and do it, but you hide it because you know it's taboo.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's what that is.
And that's another thing I wanted to say. Just embrace who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just embrace who you are. If you are who you are, embrace it. You know
I mean, it's 2023. It's okay to be gay, they say.
They say, okay.
They do say that.
That's true. They do say it, like, you know, and I know, like I say, you know, members of the community don't particularly like what you call Flame Monroe, but the bottom line is Flame accepts, you know, himself for who he is. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, you just have to accept yourself for who you are, and like, you know, go from there.
Yeah, and shout out to Brother Clarence from Let's Talk the Better Black Life. Brother Clarence says, trans men, I need my glasses. Trans men and lesbians don't try to cross into the heterosexual marketplace and then say they are better at being men. Some of them do, Brother Clarence.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a way to say this. Some of them wish they had the balls to be able to say that with confidence, though. They said it to boost their own ego and make themselves feel better, but you don't have the testosterone for it. Like, there's a video of a woman who transitioned into a man, and now he made this video saying that how he didn't know how lonely of an existence being a man was.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And so that's the thing. I think that before people transition, they really need to really think about what they're doing and examine what kind of a lifestyle they're going to live. Because being a man, it can be a very lonely existence, because it's true what they say. No one cares about men. And that's a true thing. Like, no one's gonna give a shit that you're homeless, that it's your own fault, they say, you know, or pick yourself up by your bootstraps. Be a man, you know what I'm saying? They say, you know what I mean? Get up and do something, the whole nine, you know? So, and that it's a real thing. Women avoid you because they automatically assume you're going to hit on or something, you know? Other guys, I mean, we kind of do our own thing and hang out with our boys every now and again.
Yeah,
it's an every now and again thing. It's not. You don't hang out with your boys every weekend, especially if you get in a relationship or something like that. No, you're with your lady,
right?
You know, so or if you're a successful man, you're busy all the time. You don't have time to hang out with your boys all the time like that. You know,
right? So like, not to cut you out, I want to get to this last topic.
Yeah, go ahead.
A lot, the indoctrination of children. And, you know, I have an actual video clip from the next clip is coming from, what is it? It's a group. What's called that show? Damn it. How I forgot the name of it already. Anyway, it's a clip from a very popular show. They have conservative women with a group of transgender women, and they have a conversation. And in this particular scene, it's talking about the indoctrination.
The transgender movement is indoctrinating our youth.
We are seeing, especially on social media, on TikTok, you're seeing a lot of people in this community really just targeting children. And you're seeing drag shows, even in conservative states like Texas, and even just media, movies. Like, it seems like everything seems to be targeted at these kids. You have drag story hour for kids, and it's just really, I think, predatory in a way. And I'm not saying every trans person is doing this, but as a whole, there does seem to be a route that they're taking to get to the kids.
When you hear Blue's Clues playing in the next room, and then you hear the gay parade song. It's Blue's Clues. You're not expecting to be talking to the children about that. It really makes you wonder, are they really coming for the children?
And I think we see in our population now the rate of young children who are identifying as transgender, non-binary is skyrocketing. And I think there's something to be said for people who are truly experiencing gender dysphoria, which we recognize exists, and those who are experiencing what is now going to be called, or in the future going to be called, this social contagion gender dysphoria, where they're being exposed to it on social media or in school, or mom and dad are having a conversation about it with children, and children are now starting to develop gender confusion.
Can the disagree a step forward?
The fact that the trans movement has got people shook has me so excited. The trans movement is not indoctrinating our youth. Our youth are understanding who they are at a younger age. And from what I was hearing over here is a lot of what y'all were saying, I wonder would you say it to the parents? Because we need to really look at what the parents of trans youth really go through. Trans youth, instead of them enjoying their life, playing with their friends, they're up in legislation trying to fight for basic rights here. 1 in 5 transgender youth have tried to commit suicide. Why are we trying to police them?
I have to agree with you guys. I do not like the drag queen social hours. I personally, as a trans person, didn't ever go to a drag show until I was about 40. I'm not for the sexualization of kids. Why are we not letting kids be kids and bringing sex into their lives so early?
I think it's predatory in general to talk about sex with children.
Yeah.
Straight sex, any kind of sex.
Who's teaching sex to 3rd grade children? I really want to know.
Have you looked at the California curriculum for sex education? You need to.
I know that when I was in preschool, I got my first crush on a boy because to me at the time, he was in kindergarten, he looked like Prince Eric from
Little Mermaid.
Yeah, Little Mermaid. I don't think like fucking him ever crossed my mind when I was 4, but obviously like it would have been good to know that like it's okay like if you have these feelings for someone of the same sex.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the black chick, she's a very successful YouTube channel. The conservative black woman, Amala, I think her name is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. She's a very successful YouTube channel.
Oh, I'm not familiar with it. That was my first time seeing her. Anyway, yeah, Jubilee. I don't know why I couldn't think of the name of the show like for me, but thank y'all.
People, here's the thing. I'm sitting here shaking. Look, while the video's going and they took us down, I'm sitting here shaking my head. Like you guys have any idea how many times she's called me up talking about stuff that happens on Jubilee? You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, the one time she needs to remember the name of that channel, blank.
I did.
The one time you bring up a Jubilee, we review a Jubilee video, you're like, I forget the name of it. I'm like, how? And then I saw it was Jubilee because I haven't seen these videos. We like for our reactions to be authentic,
right?
You know. So I hadn't watched the Jubilee video, and so I was like, "It's Jubilee. How does she not know?"
Right.
So, as many times as we talk about Jubilee.
What are your thoughts?
You can stop it.
Yeah, Ed, man, you can stop it. So anyway, like I was saying, what I think about it, I think that sexuality as a whole, I wish that we could not introduce our children to it until they reach a certain age. I say preteens. Mm-hmm. I say withhold any kind of sexuality of any kind at all, gay, straight, whatever, until they're in their preteens. So talk about 12, 13. Yeah. Then talk about it with them. However, because of the internet and social media, you kind of don't. Parents are stuck in a very difficult position because you don't have a choice. Those children are going to be introduced to it at a very young age because of it. You know, so I think that as parents, you have to adapt to the world around you, the environment around you, because the environment is not going to adapt to you. You have to adapt to the environment. So we have to come up with a game plan as to how we're going to manage, how we're going to navigate this, because it's coming to your kids regardless, whether we want it to or not.
Right.
You know, so that's the long and short of it. I don't think that schools should bring. I think parents should be in charge. The whole thing. Remember this big uproar about a transgender reading school stories to children.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. I do believe that should be up to the parents, as it is right now. I think members of the LGBTQ community,
Mm-hmm.
The entire culture, they have to understand that the change is happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening. I understand that it's happening a lot slower than they would like it to.
Right, yeah.
But so did racism.
Exactly.
So they have to understand that change comes slowly. We're still human beings. And with each passing generation, it becomes more and more acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
So they just have to wait, just like Black people did.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're Black and homosexual or transgender, God have mercy on your twisted soul. I mean, good Lord, you're in for it.
Right. Well,
you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a hard, difficult life.
I do want to get it here. So
hold on. Sugar Bomb had a very good one. She says you can homeschool them. That's an option. Thank you, Sugar Bomb. See, she's not just a troll, people. Sugar Bomb is awesome. I love Sugar Bomb, by the way.
Right, and make your kids even more socially awkward. So when they go off into the world, they have no social skills, as if children are already losing their social skills as is because of social media. You put your kids in homeschool, like granted, I understand it's a tough position, but your kids are going to be showing up be socially awkward.
You think so?
Hell yeah, that's part of what being around other kids does. It teaches you how to communicate, how to socialize with other people.
I agree.
Not honestly. Just with your mom or your siblings, you take that away from them when you do that. So it's granted it's a tough job being a parent, but at the same time, in trying to be protective, you have to remember part of your job is also giving your children the tools they need to go off into the world and survive on their own. And taking away their ability, social skills and stuff like that. And then what kind of adult you think they're gonna be when they do get off on their own?
So I'm with you on that.
All kind of suckers.
Yeah, so I agree with you on that. Homeschool, I think homeschool has its place. It's definitely relevant. You know what I mean? But I think kids, from my observation, I think the kids come out far more well-rounded and more prepared for life when they socialize around kids in a public school environment. For example, you know what I mean? When they're around more human beings, there's diversity, different types of personalities that they're dealing with all the time and having to manage all the time. They actually learn that. They learn the social skills. I think they should learn relationship skills at home because that's not taught in school.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of relationship skills, there was a very important point in that video that I'm pretty sure went over a lot of people's heads. The last transgender woman that was talking, when she said, I was in preschool when I had my first crush on a boy. She said, I was in preschool when I had my first crush on a boy.
How does she even remember that?
She's a trans woman, which means she was showing up in the world as a boy at the time. So she knew as a boy, she liked other boys. And I think what is being interpreted as indoctrination, really what it's about is that, number one, of course, letting kids know that homosexuals exist. And number two, it's more about people in the LGBT community don't just all of a sudden realize that they are same gender loving once they get to be an adult. They realize this at some point in their childhood.
Mm-hmm. They're same gender loving.
And for many of them, especially pre-social media, pre-internet era, movies and shows that show same gender couples and stuff like that, pre all of that, they didn't have any safe spaces to go to. All they knew is there's something about me that's different. And when with the images they see on TV, it's a man and a woman in a romantic scene, and that's the fairy tale because they supposed to have kids. And you know, you grow up, especially for ones who grew up in a religious household, that you know, you're not supposed to do that, but they know that something about them is different. That's how I'm supposed to feel. That's what I'm supposed to like. But yet I like something else. I feel something else. One of my line sisters, a lot of the gay friends and stuff that I know, I you know, when I get an opportunity, I do ask a question like, when did you know? One of my line sisters, she is lesbian. And
no doubt.
My sisters, we asked a question, when did you know you were gay? She said, oh, I've always known. She was like, ever since preschool, I was always running behind the little girls, chasing behind the little girls, picking at the little girls. I got another friend who was gay, and he grew up at a heavily religious household.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him, when did you know you were gay? He was like, well, once he, you know, hit his teenage years, he started to notice he had an attraction for boys.
And so for boys, that's normally when it hits.
Right.
For when puberty hits a boy,
mm-hmm.
it's like another switch. It's like, bling,
right.
You want all the girls.
A story, Mandrell. God damn. Anyway, so anyway, he said he tried to talk to his mom about it, and you know, he sat her down and he was like, well, Mom, I think I like boys. And I asked her, I was like, well, what'd she say? He said she sat there for a minute. She got up, she walked out of the room, she came back, she put some holy water on his forehead. She told him, now go to sleep, and when you wake up, you ain't gonna feel like that no more. Didn't work.
Yeah, I think.
Long story short, it's what is being seen as trying to convert kids. It's not necessarily trying to convert children. It's more trying to get the children who already know that there's something different about them, that they're not alone. There are people who exist that are like them, and there are spaces out there that and resources available for them to talk about it. But where I think the misinterpretation is just like you said, Mandrell. It's got to be a slow process, but yet it's being thrown on people like bam. Especially like, you know, you just all of a sudden bring like you know, what is it, drag queen happy hour at school, and like all of a sudden have like a drag queen come up to
Is it what now?
Drag queen
hour at school?
Story hour or something like that or whatever. Yeah, they doing it at schools. So like just throwing that on people is a lot. You kind of got to ease people into it. And that's where parents, you really do have to talk to your children. Like you do have to talk to your children. It is uncomfortable. You may not want to do it, but the bottom line is you have to. Like it's inevitable. You have to have the conversation. You have to talk to them. If you're and it's important that your children they feel comfortable enough to come and talk to you. You know what I mean? Like that is important. Homeschooling ain't helping them none, because guess what? They're going to grow into adults and they're going to go off into this world. And people who are very naive are quick suckers. So you're not helping them by doing that, by trying to hide it from them. As far as like, you know, with the LGBT community, I would say this. Oh, and this is what I want to say too. Like having a conversation, because I think a lot of parents feel like having a conversation is encouraging their children to go out and do it, and it's not doing that. It's simply that's making them aware of the world around them. You know what I mean? While children are impressionable, I would say that children are impressionable. They are a lot smarter than we give them credit for. Children are a lot smarter than we give them credit for. So you can skim over the conversation. You can pretend like, oh, okay, you don't want it, you know, to have a conversation. You can pretend like it just didn't happen, but children will notice. Children will notice this. They're a lot smarter than you think they are. So it's important to have that conversation. As far as like LGBTQ people, like my brother said, it's a slow rollout. You know what I'm saying? It's one step at a time, okay? You can't just throw it on people and throw people out there. It may not be moving as fast as you want it to, but listen, force feed it down people's throat ain't the way. They just gonna throw it back up. So, I got one last video by the world's most favorite transgender woman on the Breakfast Club, but I think it's a powerful message though. So admins, cue up video 5. So what you think, Mandrell?
Because people will not allow people to be, and I keep saying, the world is not going to see us. We keep asking for inclusion. And if you force feed anything on anyone, you make them hate. The gay community, my community, we are forcing, take us, see us, accept us, let us be with you. You don't need to get down with my lifestyle. That don't mean I can't be your neighbor. I can live next door to this nigga. I ain't got to go to his house for barbecue. He probably don't season his food right anyway. I ain't got to go to his house for barbecue, but we can coexist in the same neighborhood if I stop trying to put my lifestyle to make him accept what I am. I don't ask him what he doing. My business ain't his business. His business ain't my business, but that ain't what we want.
You know why we could coexist? Because you like to laugh and talk shit. And at the end of the day, that's all everybody wants to do. If we can laugh and talk shit, we good. I don't give a fuck what you are or what you do.
We overly sensitive as a people.
At the end of the day, all we need to do is be able to laugh and talk shit.
Yeah, but you can't talk. The thing is, you can't talk shit to that community because you're gonna piss somebody off and they're gonna cancel you. So the thing is, what they're doing is the oversensitive stuff. With the oversensitive, you're forcing me to not be myself around you. You're forcing the awkwardness, between straight people and gay people and LGBTQ people. You know what I'm saying? You're forcing the awkwardness because I want to let you know me, Shu. You know me, Shu. I'm a shit talker. I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna joke. And I'm gonna talk shit. But if I can't joke with you, I don't have you in my circle.
Right.
I don't. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you don't have to go by humor.
Part of too, and I think like what Funky Diva said too in his commentary, he was like, you got to understand he's a male, a black male, and a gay black male existing in society. So his guards, his defenses are already up. For many people in the LGBTQ community, their defenses are up because you got to think about it.
Yeah, I know why.
They've been teased, they've been bullied, they've been told this, they've been told that. So they're already on the defense because they already expect, to be ridiculed. They already expect to be, downplayed, all these things, because that's what they've been getting all their lives.
Right. Here's the thing.
It's, and as much as, people hate to say it, like if you come with a good energy, in most cases, more often than not, I mean, this has always been my experience, they come with a positive energy.
Right. Here's the thing, though. I got a friend who's of the gay persuasion, right? And this will answer your question, Sugar Bomb. First of all, Sugar Bomb, to answer your question, are we forcing heterosexuality? No. I'm talking about the awkwardness between the two, right?
Right, yeah.
So the thing is, what I do is I remove myself out of the situation. Like my friend who is, gay, he came up to me and said, okay, I don't care. Cool. Whatever, man. Rock out. So, I asked him, like, why would you, he told me, like, that's it? Yeah. I don't care. We've been friends this long. So I was like, why would you think I would care or have a problem with it? He said, because I've heard you tell gay jokes. I'm like, yeah, but those are just jokes.
Right.
I was trying to get him to say that was just humor. Those are just jokes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually care that someone, ain't none of my business.
Yeah.
But so I get it. There's the they don't want to be ridiculed. I get it. But there's a difference between ridicule and humor. If a person can't be funny around, can't take a joke, I don't say we're going to be friends. Like we can be work associates or whatever. I can work with y'all the live on day. Or whatever case may be.
You can, but here's the thing. They have to know that you really don't mean them any harm. Like it has to be first, it have to feel like it's a space like where they're comfortable enough, like, okay, he's cool, he's really cool with me and who I am. So okay, all right. You know, that's not necessarily like something you can just walk into off the bat, because you really don't know who is cool with you being the, you know, living the lifestyle you live and who is not.
Yeah,
so, because you don't know if it's honestly just a joke or if it's a dig, like they throwing shade at you.
They should throw shade. I'm just gonna laugh at it because it's nine times out of 10 when they throw shade, it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
So I just laugh at it, and then it's crazy because that part screws them up. Like they're like, "He laughing? Yeah, that was funny."
Right.
You know, so I'm like, yeah, that was funny. And JT says, Mandrell offends me every time we talk. We're one conversation away from me canceling him. Well, JT, you're straight, so you can't cancel anybody.
Hey, yo.
Only the LGBTQ can do that.
Feel free to click the link and come on, share your thoughts on this topic. You know, just make sure we trying to have a mature conversation here, y'all. So it's not about throwing shade or anything like that. It's just having an open, respectful conversation, y'all. So
yeah, open, respectful conversation. Listen, people, we said nothing here that offends anybody. If you're offended, so what? But honestly, so what? I mean, just come up here, state your case. I'm not going to insult you. I'm not going to curse at you. Yeah, it's not that kind of conversation.
Right. Yeah.
We're honestly looking for just honest conversation. That's it.
Right. So like I said, like, especially with the last point, the indoctrination of children, I think it's just the intention is it's a good intention, but the execution isn't landing well. That's all. He said to cancel Israel, send cash out $1 per minute. Hey, yo.
Go ahead and do it. Support the platform, please.
Right.
Go ahead and do it. Support the platform.
I'm so done.
Yeah. Cash App $1. Support the platform.
Donations.
People are going to review this video. You know that, right? Tomorrow.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. The thing is, and you know, Sugar Bomb, and I'm not sure what side of the fence you fall on. I can make assumptions based on some of the things you said in chat, but like Sugar Bomb, we're not saying that, you know, gay people are causing the problem. No, we're not. But because we're like, she would understand where the discomfort with society comes from when it comes to the LGBTQ community, and it's justified. I'll start off by saying that your anxiety, your fear, your discomfort, it is justified. Yes. You got some people out there who are real world-class turds for no good reason, bothering people who ain't bothering nobody else. But you want to tell, but they want to tell you that you're wrong, you're going to hell. First of all, how do you know? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you ain't. Look how you treating this person who ain't bothered you. You telling them they're going to hell, but you're not for your behavior. I mean, come on.
Right.
So yeah, we understand, Sugar Bomb. So it's just
Sherwin Cordero, he said,
you know, we mean no harm in the conversation. So
to have clear understanding. Those who are willing to listen and understand and learn that is heavy on the learn. I'm sorry. Yeah. Harold, and that's part of like what I want to. The reason why I was showing Funky Dineva's video too, when he was saying that you know, you got to make people understand. Like, you got to help people understand. Like, if you're upset or like whatever the upset or the disdain is, you have to articulate that. You know, and a lot of people aren't like really articulating what their disdain is. But yeah.
Yeah. As long as you don't try to push on me, we're good. Yeah, but like I said, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like, you know me, I like to laugh and joke. I just like to enjoy life. I don't want to beef with anybody. I don't like to argue. You know what I mean? But if I tell the wrong joke and someone takes it the wrong way, and then they start cursing at me, I'm like, wait, what did I say that was so wrong? You know what you said. I'm like, I know what I said, but I don't understand what part of what I said got you so heated.
Right.
And then it just breaks down because they can't tell me what I said that got them so pissed off. And then I'm just like, you know what?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm out of the conversation. So I'm like, hey, you can't tell me what pissed you off, man. We got nothing to talk about.
Right. So I'd like to welcome to the panel Corey and Yusuf. I was about to say Joseph. Yusuf. How y'all doing?
Yusuf?
Doing good.
Corey Hager! And also, if there's any member of the community who out there in the chat who like to come up and have the conversation with us, please do. This is how we learn. Because honestly, we can't tell you how to live your lifestyle. We're not members of it.
Right.
But the way we learn is if you guys were to engage in conversation with us and tell us, like if we got something wrong here tonight, by all means, come up and share with us.
Right. Yeah.
Or not.
It's a tough Corey. All right, Corey, what you got for us?
Well, the alphabet community, they got to recruit. So it's kind of a hard life, no pun intended. Duty booty's kind of rough to find, I mean, especially when you're less than 1% of the population, it's kind of like a dried up cornfield out there. But
dried up cornfield out there, huh?
But anyway, no, really, I mean, when I was a kid, I grew up on the West Coast, so there was they didn't call them the alphabet community back then, but it's not politically correct to call them what we called them back then, or they even called themselves. We live in a different world. But, there was naked hippies walking around, and there was a big difference between men and women, and, I mean, the women were pretty attractive, so, I mean, some of them did need to shave, I'll tell you that, but, that's what you get when you're around a bunch of hippies. But they didn't all look like that. But I tell you, they all smelt like coconut tanning oil. Ooh. But anyway, moving on. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the alphabet community, it just is what it is. But just like people don't like to have the religion pushed down their throat, they need to take their own advice.
First, pause.
You know what I mean. Nobody likes to be, basically subjected to somebody else's, what do you call it? All right. Hey, did you find them skinny jeans yet? I ain't never heard anybody spend $600 on a pair of skinny jeans.
I don't wear skinny jeans.
Shu Shu, you know where they're at, don't you?
Yeah.
I don't wear skinny jeans. No, I don't wear skinny jeans. I don't have the body shape for that. There's too much muscle. There's too much muscle on the frame, dude. I would look ridiculous in skinny jeans.
I'm just kidding. I'll share the panel. Come on.
I know.
There you go.
They would look Corey.
Thank you, Corey. Yusuf, you were you came up next. What are your
Yusuf?
That's funny. Yusuf? You start mimicking Mandrell. That's hilarious to me.
You said coconut oil. Damn.
This is one. I mean, this is a hard one to touch. No pun intended. Because it's you got the religious folks, you got the scientific folks, you got people in the middle. And I agree with Mandrell in that. In my opinion, and I've had arguments with other people who are of religious faith, be it Muslim or Christians, typically those two, and their reasoning and rationale behind why they feel how they feel about homosexuals, and they'll point to certain scripture in the Quran or certain scripture in the Bible and say, well, this is the reason why we don't like it, we don't, we condone it, because it spreads like a virus, right? You just somehow you become gay, which it's impossible. And I think every man,
you can't catch it.
You can't catch gay.
Like you can't catch it.
They're convinced that you can.
There's no vaccine.
They're convinced that you can somehow. But when I grew up, when puberty hits, especially for a boy, every man knows at that time for sure if you prefer to be in the women's locker room or the boys' locker room. There's no ambiguity in it. There's no, I'm confused. Dang, I really want to be in a girls' locker room. Or you have certain guys that kind of like, you can tell they enjoyed it a little too much. And that's around the time you kind of figure out, damn, this is the way it is. So these people didn't have any child abuse in it growing up. They'll tell me, oh, this is just what I've always liked. I like playing with Barbie dolls. I looked at Ken, I was like, ew, Ken, I want to play with Barbie. And this is just the way it is. I grew up with a gay best friend before you even knew what gay was. And, you called him special because you didn't know what that was or why is this boy acting like a girl? But this is the way it was. Was he abused as a child? Who knows? But does that play any role into sexual orientation later in life? I doubt it, because I also have a good friend who was assaulted by a man when he was a boy, but he is as straight as they come. He's had more women than I had in my life. So it's not as black and white as this is bad, this is evil. And particularly when it comes to the religious aspect to it, in my personal opinion, I'm just being completely honest, I believe that a lot of them hide behind what they read in a holy text, again, be it Quran or the Bible, and they'll justify their homophobic, genuine feelings behind, well, because it says this in this particular scripture, and let me point this out to you. And they'll say, well, no, it's okay that they feel that way towards another man or a woman towards another woman. You can feel that way, you just can't act on it. But that makes no sense, because you can't tell me as a straight man, I can't feel attracted to a woman and not have desires to be intimate with a woman. That's impossible. So now you're promoting sexual repression and it's veiled under the guise of it'll save your soul in the end. Or if you don't get yourself together, and if you choose to act on those desires, then you're going to pay the consequences. They might not be very explicit in telling you this is the price you're going to pay. Basically, you're going to go to hell. But they'll insinuate this is, does God really, is he going to save your soul because you're choosing to do this? Like it's a lifestyle. It's not a lifestyle. I don't choose to be attracted to a woman. Mandrell doesn't choose to be attracted to a woman. No one chooses their sexual orientation. It's an automatic, it's as natural to me as it is breathing. I can't think, I think I like this girl. It's a girl, I'm instantly attracted to her. It's just immediate. So if that's the way I feel about women, then logic tells me that that's how gay men feel about gay men or gay women feel about other women. That's something they can't control. You see a lot of them try to hide it and try to mask it and try to fit into society, which is why I think they turn to transgenders is like a stepping stone. They can't really be seen in public with the same sex, so they'll be out in public with someone who looks like the opposite sex to satisfy their natural orientation. So it's complex, it's difficult. A lot of people don't like to touch it, but I think it's a conversation that needs to be had.
Thank you, Yusuf. Thank you for that.
L'chaim.
Mazel tov.
There you go. Mazel tov.
Ikene. I'm sorry. I say his name wrong all the time. I'm sorry.
Iwanagu. Yeah. Ikene Iwanagu.
Yeah, you're doing a good job. You did good.
Yeah, thank you. I tried. Yeah. All right, what do you have on the topic, brother?
It's a very, very dicey topic, a very serious one. But the thing about it is this.
You said what happened now?
I don't think. No, I'm just gathering my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
You see, as humans, right? We are born to be two things. We have a feminine, we are born to be male or female. But at the same time, we have people that naturally have inquisitiveness in themselves. But as a kid, when you grow up, if you guys remember, you want to be like your friends. Maybe you were born into a poor family, and you have a middle class family as friends, and you have rich family as friends, right? You want to be like your middle class family friends. You want to be like the rich family friends. You want to change your last name. I know some of us have gone through that. You want to change your last name. You don't want your dad to be your dad. You wish his dad or her dad was your dad. You want to be their family. We go through those changes. But none of us made it permanent. We know that it's human to go through changes. It's human to want to change your last name to have a cool last name. It's human to want to change your hairstyle. It's human to want to change this or change that. It's just what we go through growing up as kids. But when you change something that you're not supposed to change, you live without pain for a very long time. I don't have anything against somebody that wants to be gay or lesbian, but do understand that when you make that change, that some of that change you might never come back. And when you can't come back, that's why suicide happens. Because they've altered something that they're not supposed to alter. They end up committing something catastrophic.
Is that the reason? Or is it because of the exact same thoughts and feelings you have about them? That is that pressure, that burden, that it's so unnatural that you should feel ashamed for it in some way, shape, or fashion, and therefore it causes them to go into that place of despair, which then eventually leads to them deleting themselves in a world where we, as the heterosexuals, are the predominant majority. So imagine that, right? You're the black person in America. We complain about being discriminated against because we are the minority. But when we turn around and do it to others who are the minority to us, then that we can justify. Make that make sense.
But look at it this way, right? If you build a house, you can easily remodel your house. You can remove some part of your house and install certain part. It's called remodeling, right? As long as you didn't tamper with the structure, the main structure, right? The house is going to remain in place. But as soon as you touch the main structure mistakenly, guess what happened? The whole house collapsed, right? But the thing about human body is that every part of our body is a main structure. If you cut off a finger, you don't get balance when you carry something like that in your two hands. Even though you still have 10 fingers, you still have 9 fingers, but one finger is gone, right? Out of the 10. You as the human being knows that something is not right. You cut off 2 fingers. You cut off 1 arm. You cannot perform just like somebody that has a complete body. So if you alter any of your organ as a human being, it slows you down. But sometimes in certain situations, the human body fights back. When it fights back, that's why you see that division does happen. Even without us shaming anybody. We don't have to shame anybody. But the human body naturally fights back. That's why
it
you
naturally
have
fights back against the transformation. Is that what you mean? The transgenderism?
Against the transformation, exactly.
I agree with that. So that's the whole different. That's very different from a man who keeps all his natural functions and is attracted to another man, or vice versa for a woman. But now you're talking about, in my opinion, this. I think when it gets into transgenderism, where they're looking to change they're trying to be the other sex physically as well. I think that's dangerous for them. It causes mental issues.
Real quick, right? I'm going to say this to you real quick. When a man deals with another man, you actually causing a serious situation for yourself. The reason why you causing a serious situation for yourself is this, right? It's like taking a gasoline. You drive a combustible car. 2 cars are combustible, but one is diesel, one is petroleum, right? If you put diesel in a fuel car, they can react instantaneously. When you take a human sperm and ejaculate it into another man's body, that man's body, because the organ inside that human body is not made to receive a sperm, it deteriorates your body over time. Because your body understands that there is a foreign object that is not supposed to be there, or in this case, a foreign semen or liquid that is put inside you that is not supposed to be there. That's why it fights back. Then you start getting diseases, right? You start getting sick because those females are not supposed to be there. But guess what happens? When you as a man have sex with a woman and you ejaculate inside her, what happens to the woman's body? She feels excited. She bonds with you. She bonds, she feels that her whole body goes through that process of, guess what? I have received something that I wanted. It's not the same. So, as an aerospace, mechanical and aerospace engineer, I like to put emphasis using science and my limited knowledge of biology to make you understand that whenever you introduce something that is not supposed to be where it is, there is a repercussion.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, Ekene. JT, what we know. What's going on? I saw your comment in the comments. You was like, it's Jubilation. So I was like, God damn, I don't know why I just couldn't think of it for the life of me.
Yeah, I love that commentary, man. It's dope. It's really dope. So it's and they also call it the middle ground or something. It's a segment called the middle ground. Yeah, that they have. Yeah, I did a couple of shows using their commentary. So I'm glad and I'm thankful that they did not flag my content. So it's not as bad. I've never heard any. I guess I've never heard anybody. I know some of the people that use their commentary. I've never heard that they flag them. So shout out to them. But did you guys have a question that you were trying to pinpoint, or was it just open statements, or what?
Yeah, just pretty much, I guess, what your thoughts were on the topic and on tonight's show. So I'm not sure like how much of it you caught, like about the gay agenda.
Yeah, it is. It's levels to agendas. That's just one up under the overall umbrella. Mm-hmm. But for this topic, I don't think it's specifically like the gay community, because it's just so many communities inside that, right? And as much as we're starting to observe the LGBT community, we're starting to see that there's a lot of things that they don't agree with.
Yeah.
With each other, inside that community. And then you have different beliefs also within, even and specifically with transgender. Mm-hmm. They all have different beliefs. So I'm starting to understand that it's more of inside that community, it's probably more of a generational thing, how old you are. And then it also is based off of what your agenda is, personally. Mm-hmm. So the more we have these conversations, the more understanding that we all start to have, and the more that we can actually formulate our thoughts on it. And it's starting to eliminate a lot of the so-called phobias and hate between the two. These hard conversations come into you and your brother. I will be canceling him next week, but no, commending you guys for having these conversations and trying so we can have a different angle on how we can actually converse with one another. So I just want to listen to someone else's, I'm just here. Conversation.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Information there. What you got for us?
Hey, how you doing? I just want to be brief. I had a chance to listen to the conversation that you were having tonight. And there's always been a question about whether people who are trans or transgender, whether it's something that's natural or unnatural. If you are a religious person, then you're going to see it as unnatural. And as much as we want to criticize people who quote things from the Bible, people who are religious and believe that it is not natural, they have just as much as right to believe that from the Bible as people who do believe that it's natural. And I think that people who are religious, take a religious point of view, they get criticized for their point of view, because what's happening is that everybody is trying to make everybody accept what everybody is instead of leaving everybody the hell alone. Now, when you look at the evolution of the gay community, they just at one point in time within the gay community, from what I observe, my mom had gay friends. I knew people that were gay. I had a good friend in high school that was gay. They simply wanted to be treated as humans and not to be harassed. And then they went through the phase of wanting to have gay marriage, and people were kind of like, hey, we don't like that. And then eventually they got the gay marriage. What happens with humans, no matter race or economic background, when humans have a cause and they get total power or they begin to step into power, you know that power corrupts people. So what's happening, the LGBTQ community, in which I don't understand why they cannot be criticized. The more power and more access that they get to pushing their ideology on society, as they said that heterosexuals did to them, the more they are becoming just like heterosexuals. What do I mean by that? They are now feeling power, feeling themselves, and now they're feeling like, okay, now we want to go into we want to be able to go into the schools, teach sex education. Your parents should be the ones teaching sex education. We should not be letting anybody teach our kids sex education. That should be our jobs. So they want to go into the schools. They want to go into society and push the envelope of making us accept who they are in terms of the complete lifestyle. And the truth of the matter is, you get more bees with honey than you do with salt. You're not going to make people accept it. I think it's really about, is this like when black people went through the civil rights movement? Our ancestors went through a struggle to get to where we are now, and we still are not completely where we need to be. And it seems like the gay community, I'm generalizing here, it seems that they want to take the fast track. Boom. And it's kind of like in your face. You look at a Netflix movie, you look at movies, it's just in your face. And I think people have the right to love who they want to love, be with who they want to be with, but you don't have a right to put who you are in terms of your lifestyle and who you are. You don't have a right to make me accept it. You don't have a right to throw it in my face. No more than I want to see heterosexual people out in public all over each other. I don't want to see that. I don't want my kids to see that no more than I want to see people that are gay doing the same thing. So it seems to be two separate standards, that the more influence and the more acceptance that the gay community gets in society, the more flamboyant they become. Perfect example. You had a gay pride celebration at the White House. Next thing you know, breasts are being flashed, or artificial breasts are being flashed. You don't see heterosexual people doing that. When have you ever seen biological women or go to the White House for a special celebration and start flashing? What's all this flashing of the flesh for? So that can kind of bother people. And then you wonder why people have these dispositions towards people of the LGBTQ community, because it's kind of like in your face, and people don't always want to see that. There's been a theory, because you all talked about whether people were meant to be born this way. There's been some theories put out there that people being born gay could be part of evolution. Evolution meaning a way to indirectly curve the population of our planet. Because if you got mostly heterosexual people, you can see that the planet gets overpopulated. So maybe, just maybe in a theory, maybe nature or evolution has has created a situation where people are born gay as a way for there to be, biologically, I'm saying, population control. Because if you have people that are like to be with, say, people of the same sex, nature may have created a system in which to checks and balances of population. You never know. There's all kind of theories. But whether people are born this way or not, really, to me, is not really what's important. What's more important is that we let people be who they want to be, live their life, marry who they want to marry, love who they want to love. But at the same time, they should not infringe on my rights, infringe on my personal space, and infringe on my lifestyle. So if I say I don't agree with the lifestyle and I want to raise my son or daughter a certain way, I should not be called homophobic and should be judged, because I have as just much right to how I want to live my life as people in the gay community have. That was something that they championed for years, about people being able to be who they are. But yet the hypocrisy is being able to say that calling heterosexual people homophobic, which means fear. And it's not about it. So if I have an opinion that I don't agree with something that they're doing, and I don't want my child being exposed to, that is not fear. That is me as an adult saying that is not for me or my child. My child is a child. They become an adult, and then they come out and tell me, well, dad or whatever, I'm this way. Okay, that's what it is. They're adult. They're making an adult decision. But we've got people trying to make decisions for kids whose brains are not even fully developed. We won't even let kids use a whipping. We won't let kids do certain things. They can't drink. But yet in California, we're giving consent to start doing these changes to people's bodies. Let me give you a statistic here. This was fact checked. 42% of people who attempt suicide are in the transgender community. Oftentimes these conversations are that, well, they're committing suicide because they're being picked on, they're being discriminated against, and what have you. That does play a role in this. But what they don't want to talk about is how people who get these body changes become depressed. They start having health problems with their bodies. When they start getting sex changes down below, and they're having an opening, a wound, which is natural for a woman to have, they're having all type of physical and issues in that area, and they become depressed. They start realizing, I don't want to. What did I do to myself? Another thing that people don't want to talk about is how the medical establishment is making boo-hoo amounts of money off of pushing the idea that it's okay for you to give your kids puberty blockers and to change their sex. They don't give a damn, because they're making boo-hoo money off of these surgeries, and they're not there to pick up the pieces of those people committing suicide who have now decided, oh, I've made a wrong decision that was made when they were a kid, where they developed a brain that was still in development. Okay. Within the black community, when it comes to transgender, you have black youth. You've got, you got 37% between 2018, 2021, according to the United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, compared to white transgender. We're dealing with depression, unhappiness, and some of that was because of not being accepted by the community, the black community in this situation. So within the black community, we're not accepting this wholesale, and a lot of it has to do with religion, personal belief systems, and all of that. So you have a lot of transgender black people that are taking their lives in suicide. And I work in mental health. Suicide is increasing, particularly in our black youth. So we got some problems in the black community that we need to address, not only within the gay community, but within the black community at large. Another thing that goes untold here is in the LGBTQ community, a lot of, and I talked to Conscious TV about this, and he was willing to agree with me. In the LGBTQ community, it's run by it's run by the white gays. Black people within that community don't run anything, and they deal with discrimination within their own gay community. Remember Michael Sam, the football player that was drafted by the Rams? Of course, he didn't make the NFL. He came out with a book and he admitted that he had experienced more racism, more prejudice within the LGBTQ community by his whiter counterparts than he did with the problems he had to deal with the black community. So within that community, black people that are gay or transgender, they're dealing with that set of discrimination that they're not accepted. And what happens is that black people are always used as, for a lack of a better word here, folks, just a lack of a better word, we are used as mascots for every damn movement. They use us for the mascots. So they'll push black gay people out there who are transgender, who may be flamboyant in their behavior, push them out there to promote to use them as to promote something, while white gay people hide behind the scenes and run everything. I know this. I lived in San Francisco for most of my life. And when the black community in San Francisco wanted something, we never got it. What the gay community wanted, they got, because they were on the board, they were involved in politics, and particularly gay white men, economically, they dominate economically. I saw it throughout all my life living in San Francisco and throughout the Bay Area. So these are areas that create the stress, the depression, not only just from the black community, those that feel that they're not wanted, but even within their own community, they're not even wanted. Okay. In some cases within that community. So we have to understand there's a big dynamic here. And I just don't, as a straight heterosexual male, I can't spend a lot of my time focusing on how people want to live their life in terms of whether they're gay or straight. I have to be more concerned about my life, the life of my child, and what I need to do there than to be focusing, because we can't stop, even if we don't like what's going on, we can't stop the fact that people are coming out to who they want to be, and it's not going to stop. But what we need to be concerned about is what our kids are being exposed to and what we're not going to accept on that front. I'll rest there.
Question for you, information man.
Yes, sir.
So going back to what you were saying as far as the biological, right? Where
yes, sir.
Body, I've never really heard. I hear people debunking this whole thing. They would have the argument on whether there's a gay gene or there's not. But from the standpoint, and I want to see if I can get clarity from you.
Yes, sir.
Are you saying that as a biological, the body at some point it goes through a process where the body actually starts to be at a point where I guess there's a system of being gay or something? For instance, like if you had somebody that lived closer to water, right, and they were born, our body, we already understand that geographically our body starts to it starts to conform to our environment.
Right.
So for instance, in Africa, our body, our hair, the way it was because of the sun and how hot it was. Our nose was wide because of, the humidity and things like that. You have some people that's at the island, they were born with webbed fingers, and things like this. So do you think that there is some form of, because we're starting to have an environment like that, where it can conform us to change our DNA?
Well, I don't know about anything, how something could change your DNA, but I do know that humans are preconditioned to environmental changes. We adapt to the environment. So I'm going to be honest with you. I grew up playing basketball and doing certain activities because most of the guys that I was around were into sports. So I began to pick up on that. Then guys were into breakdancing and strutting. I think as humans, you adapt to a social group that will accept you, right? And you will pick up certain behavior. So whether there's people that are born this way, that can be debated. Maybe that is the case. But I also think there's not only biology that makes us what we are, but there's the environment that can affect you. Because let's not underestimate the fact that there are people, I know people personally, that were they were touched as a child. They were touched. Something happened to them. And because of what happened to them, it led to them accepting that lifestyle. Anybody who denies that to be true, you're just not thinking on all cylinders. There are those people that are gay because environment dictated the behavior and what they went through and the trauma. Then there are people that will say, I knew I was gay the minute I was in elementary school. How can I debate them on that? I don't know. Now, is there a gene? They haven't proven that there is a gene. Now, last night on the show that you guys were on last night, someone said that in the DSM-5, that it was seen as a dysphoria, a mental illness. They have since taken that out of the DSM-5. That is no longer recognized. At one time, the psychology community saw it as gender dysphoria, right? As some type of condition, but they have taken it out now. They don't see it as that, but it is up to everyone's interpretation based on your experience. It's your experience, and that's the experience of the person who's gay, who's going to tell you, no, I know I was gay. I don't think that it serves us well personally, JT, I'm not saying you do this, but to debate people who are telling us that I knew I was gay since I was a child, because I know for a fact that nobody could tell me that I didn't like women when I was a child. So I would have, if someone was to tell you and me right now when we were 4 and 5 years old, hey, how could you like women? I would look at them like they were crazy and say, no, I knew that I liked girls from the time I was 5, 6, 7 years old. I knew it. So how can we debate someone who says, well, I was that way? Now, then they'll tell you this, well, I wasn't touched, I wasn't molested, right? So then how can you debate with them? Now, could it be, now people may say, oh, it's the environment, maybe there's something in the water. We don't know that. But I do know this. Every generation is influenced by what seems to be popular. I'm going to be honest. This might be an unpopular thing, what I'm going to say. I think that within the younger generation today, because they seem to be more accepting of this lifestyle with the binary and all this sort of stuff, I think within that community of young people in this generation, I think it's almost become like a fad for them. Because I think there was a report that came out maybe several months ago that a lot of females who would consider themselves heterosexual have dabbled in and out of messing with females, even though they still like being with guys. So, and you got to understand, if all these kids are wearing the bull rings in their nose and they're wearing this and that and they're getting this, you begin to say, my generation is accepting this as normal. So I, as a guy or a woman, can be with a woman today, a guy tomorrow, and it's okay amongst that group of generation. My generation, your generation, JT, we would never accept that.
Yeah. Can I interject real quick with
that?
Oh,
yeah, no problem. Yes.
I think with that, it's more so it's just that, like I said, with social media and stuff, they putting it on the internet, but that's been happening. Because I remember in high school, having friends of mine I knew, they were straight in high school. We got to college, all of a sudden they gay. And then we get out of college, fast forward a year or two. Now all of a sudden they married and they pregnant and, they having kids and stuff. I'm like, wow, okay, how that happened? Like, but that happened a lot.
But Shu Shu, let me ask you this question. I'm glad you brought that up. Mm-hmm. Do you think that your friends did that because that's truly who they were? Or were they influenced by that was the hot thing to do at the time? Meaning that seemed to be the trend. Like, hey, everybody else is doing it. Why am I not doing it? Because, kids, this already. Kids are influenced. Because I mean, when I was growing up as a kid, I saw the guys, getting the girls. And I sort of, I knew I liked girls, but I sort of wanted to mimic what the guys were doing. So what did we do? You buy certain shoes, you buy certain clothes because it seemed like the girls liked that, right? So you're doing what your peer group is popularizing. When I grew up, my peer group were guys who were liking women. So I was mimicking these things.
Right.
So could it be that they were just sort of like doing what was trendy and then they realized later on as they matured, you know what? I ain't really on no gay stuff or no bisexual stuff. I really want to be with a woman or,
And that's what I was saying.
In general, I'm generalizing because I know anybody out there that is gay, we're not saying that,
right.
I don't want to be, canceled and how these things happen these days.
That's why I was saying the delineation. I mean, because I hear a lot of people speak about this is what I mean also about just the DNA. If you see, a child and you see their parents, right, and the child probably never met their parents, and if they observe that child will have a lot of the mannerisms that the parents would have.
Mm.
Now, the thing is that think about like basketball. You'll hear people saying that, I want an athletic child, so I'm a, date and have a child with an athletic man or an athletic woman. You hear people saying that. How much truth is that? Because if we're talking about that, then is it at a point where we can alter our DNA with how we think? That's what I was saying as far as like to explore that. I don't know. I'm asking the question.
Well, what the good doctor said in the chat room, which that was something that I didn't bring up, and the doctor brought up a good point. There has been studies or things out there in terms of chromosomes. Could people who are gay have a different type of chromosome disposition? We know that we have the Y and X chromosome that makes up a woman and, man. So if you are born genetically, biologically, and you have these extra chromosomes that could lead to you having a different disposition for a preference, that's very possible. None of us would know that because none of us up here on this panel, at least I'm just guessing, are microbiologists. Right? We don't have, so we would need to have, I would rather, I'm gonna be honest with you, I would rather hear a microbiologist, someone who's certified in that field, break that stuff down. And maybe that is because I'm glad that the good doctor in the chat room made that statement in there. He reminded me of something that chromosomes are something we got to look at.
Yeah. If you want. So what now, Yusuf? We have another person we haven't heard from yet.
Yeah, Mr.
Provocative.
Oh, he's been waiting.
He's been waiting very patiently. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm very patient. I was gonna say, Mr. Information. I appreciate you keeping 100. That was very good. Contextualizing of the topic. I just want to fall and say that I do believe it's an agenda. I believe it's an agenda because many of the reasons that Mr. Information stated, the backing, you're not giving power, you're empowered. So who's protecting them? Who's amplifying their voice? Who's projecting the image? We're not controlling any of those things in our community. I believe that Black people in particular, coming up in America, we understand we live in a controlled environment. We don't control crap, nothing. Not our food, not our clothing, not our shelters. We don't control anything in our environment. Everything that happens to us is projected onto us by another group of people. So for us to say or discount that it might be an agenda is insane. We've lived through it. Just the standard of beauty alone was given to us on what beauty is. So if you could do that with beauty, you could do that with sexuality. And I'm gonna just keep it brief. I just wanted to be on the panel just to hear the conversation and
That's a very good point, what you said, Mr. Provocative, because for so long in this society, and you know this, that the standard of beauty was white women. And a lot of our beautiful Black women had experienced some low self-esteem about themselves in terms of whether they looked good enough, that they meet the beauty standards. And that's where you get this colorism, where you have guys back in the day when I was coming up, they would go for the light-skinned girls and the dark-skinned sisters would be like, ain't I good enough? So we have really the agenda. You're right. agendas have been played on us psychologically.
I think Yusuf,
go ahead.
Yusuf, and then Ekene.
I want to touch briefly on what Information Man said towards the tail end of this conversation, in which he, this curiosity of, is there a gene? Is there something, in their DNA, in their blood? Is there some sort of weird? It kind of reminds me of how slavers used to, take the black man and black woman's brain and dissect it and say, is it a human being? Is it an ape? We don't know. Oh my, let's put them on display and show them before the world is, are they even human? And it took them decades to come to the conclusion, oh yeah, they really are human. So maybe it's not as deep as, it's as just some sort of gene or extra chromosomes and all this other extra stuff, any different from us. It's just simply the fact that it's just literally who they are. Just as much as it's not even a preference for women. It's just like, I just do. I can't help it. I can't switch it on or off any more than a gay person. And I'm only speaking for them, about them, not transgenderism, which is a whole different thing. But for a gay man or woman, it's just as natural to them to be attracted to the same sex as it is for us to be attracted to the opposite sex. But because we are the majority, we control that narrative. We are the ones who can say, well, that can't be normal or natural because we are like something like 95% of the entire world population versus the 5 or 7% who are the opposite of us in terms of their sexual orientation. So it's not quite as deep as, well, are they this and that? It's over dissecting them to the point where it sort of diminishes their humanity in a lot of different ways, which contributes a lot to their mental trauma and emotional traumas, because they're looking at these people who have these feelings and thoughts about them. They're conversating with them, and they'll say something like what Information Man is saying, perhaps even innocently. But to the person who's listening, the gay individual, they're thinking this person doesn't even acknowledge that this person sounds like they're having a back and forth between themselves on whether or not they even know if I'm human or not. Like, it's not as deep with me as it is with you, but there's this aspect of, is it a gene? Is it splicing? Is it extra chromosomes? Will you go to hell, heaven, or all these different things? And lastly, there's a lot of debate, and this is something that I was actually very shocked to do some research on. And there's, having read a lot of scripture in the New Testament, Paul's writings, there's some things that kind of tipped me off to me thinking, like, what is all this talk about? It's better to I guess be married than to burn in passion, or it seemed like he just never married, and it seemed off. But there's a lot of talk about the very strong possibility, not hearsay or not theory, that he may himself have been a gay man. Now, if that is true,
who, the
and
Apostle
he is
Paul?
the second, absolutely. There's just a lot of clues
people?
He drops. I'm sorry. There's clues there, and I looked at it and I said, "What?" Now I didn't know at the time. I'm reading it and I'm thinking, like, why is it like these are things he's saying that I would hear modern gay men say, but it's like real subtle. So I was like, well, maybe I don't know. Am I seeing things? There's a lot of speculation behind that. So I think it might be an issue for a lot of Christians or believers who believe in God if there was to be indefensible proof where he himself came back to life and said, yes, I was a gay man. What then would that do to their faith and belief in God and in Christ? If Jesus is right-hand man, essentially, he was second to Christ.
Then they won't believe that he's the Apostle Paul. They just throw out the guy's identity as a whole. You couldn't have been.
But if he himself, that's true. That's a possibility.
They'll deny it.
But if there's a way that he could say, he could prove independently, if he could say with Jesus Christ himself, he came on a chariot, all this, and he's telling you that I am a gay man, now they're going to have to deal with those emotional issues and how they really feel about those individuals, as opposed to, well, it says in the Bible this, and this, and this. It's just, to me, it's touchy, because why do you advocate so much for them, even though you're not one of them? I get that a lot. It's because in my mind, I'm thinking, isn't that what Christ talked about? You defend the weak and those who are the defenseless, and you help those who are poor. It's not just the poor, and not just the starving. It's not just the shelterless. It's also people who are marginalized in the minority, like the gay people, like those who don't have the majority voice like we do. But I thought that's what Christ taught. But then they said, well, no, you're persecuting me. You're judging me because, no, I'm not judging you. Well, they said he was going to persecute, they said are you really a Christian? Not going to go there with you. But I do know that I love those who love me and those who love God. And those include gay people. That's just my opinion. So that's all I wanted to say about that.
This is to me. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going next. Oh, Cynthia.
Let me say something real quick
Yeah,
before
I thought. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah,
Go
okay.
ahead.
CBN. If you don't mind, Information Man, we're going to let Ikane make his point. After that, then Information Man. Then we're going to go to OG.
No problem.
J
No,
Speed.
CBN can go before me. That's fine. I can go after CBN.
I can talk? Okay, good. I want to piggyback what Joseph said earlier when he said how the white looking at hip to China. Yep.
You fading in and out.
Is it just me or is he fading in and out?
You're fading
You hear
in
me?
and out.
Now we
hear me?
do. Now we do.
I didn't adjust the mic, so my mic kind of very funny.
Okay.
Now, as I'm bringing this topic up, I asked a question about how do people of the power structure want to project their view on other people, but yet when the same apply back to them, they'll react some kind of way because you look at history, white people treat everybody from different race, all sort of things. They call black people monkey animal, they call Chinese people yellow man, they call the Indians all kind of names, but the moment the lens turn around and you project back on them, or suddenly there's a problem. So what's going on in today's society is actually happening. If you don't want to accept a person's lifestyle, you have a consider kind of phobia. You have a hatred for gay people, you have a hatred for trans, you have a hatred for trying to be a hatred for black people. I'm looking at it from the big picture as in what is wrong in living a life the way you want to live comfortably without interjecting your will or your you onto somebody else, because I always have this conversation off the internet long before this. And I ask people these questions. If I didn't say nothing to you, I didn't put my view on you. If I don't cross your boundaries, will you expect the same thing to do the same into in return? Because the so-called agenda, like I hear Information Man said it today, which is similar to what Mandrell Man saying yesterday on the platform, when he broke it down. And I always ask myself, when are we at people who start doing the homework, start doing research, do proper research, not just go based on he said, TJ. Start to read, start to learn what's really going on before you project certain things onto people and start assuming things when your information is not on solid foundation. Because I'm enjoying this conversation and I'm liking all the views we've seen today, and I can see multiple angles. This is something that you still had to continue on another day, whereby there had to be a clear understanding why are we having this situation today. Because I'm a father and a grandfather. I don't teach my kid to hate on anybody. I don't teach my kid to be racist. I don't teach my kid to be any kind of fraud. I tell you, respect people as a human being. Whatever they do in their life, let it be. That's their own cup of tea. It's not your place to judge them. If they want to be accepted by you, then you can accept it. If they want to, that's fine. Go your separate way. But don't do things that will bring forth any type of disturbance in your own environment as well. And this is why I'm glad this is happening. I'm glad the content is happening. I'm listening to everybody's point of view and angle. Allow me to take some points here and there so I can have that conversation with my kids, which I do on a regular, because I want to pick their brain and see how they think. Sometimes they come to me and tell me what they see in their classroom or what their classmates do or what their teacher do, and I ask questions. How do you feel about it? How do you address this? What is your view about this? How do you think? I learned it in being a person who works in the church, because today time, if we don't have the time to speak to our young generation, our kids, and teach them to think out of the box, but teach them to think on an intellectual way, we will have the same problem repeat itself over and over and over again. That's my point of view. Other than that, it's a great conversation.
Thank you for that, Black David. I think next is it Ekene that was next? Or
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, this is what I'm going to say.
is always next.
JT.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I'm going to say, right? You see, most of us always accuse women of switching femininity or switching on masculinity, switching off masculinity to switch on femininity. You can't switch gay, lesbian, gay. You can't switch it. You see what I'm saying? Because when we talk about, oh, we have to support them because of their time in their face, is this. No, come on, man. That is called playing God and the devil. One thing that is consistent in life is men, masculine men and straight men have always been consistent in this life. They've always been consistent. So, we all know that we can't, just like I told Dr. Inside, I can't accept the lifestyle of somebody, but at the same time, I can't deny them the will to live. I cannot deny them that because that's murder. That's crime to deny somebody the will to live. But I mustn't accept that lifestyle. And also, people always want to quote Jesus. I'm not a Christian, but I don't think you should misquote somebody. When you say that Jesus accepts those that if you believe in Jesus, you accept that. No, Jesus didn't accept nothing. He didn't promote that. He didn't accept that. He said, go and sin no more. He didn't say you should dwell in it. If every culture on earth tells you that something is a sin, it's a sin. From Christianity to Islam to Buddhism, no culture, no religion on earth tells you that this is not a sin. So if every
homosexuality is a sin.
Let me finish, sir. Because the thing about it is let me finish so that you don't knock me off of my speech. So, and now you're forcing me to answer that question. Yes, homosexuality is a sin because guess what? He didn't create man. If God wanted that to happen, he would have said man and man go into the world and populate, woman and woman go into the world and populate, and then he would have said man and woman go into the world and populate. He would have created 3 phases of reproduction, right? Which is a man and a man go and populate, a woman and a woman go and populate, and a man and a woman go and populate. That would have been the 3 phases of reproduction, right? But he only made it 1 phase of reproduction, a man and a woman. And so he made it in everything that breathes. Every living thing that breathes today has a man and a woman. Even to the extent that even science itself did some connectivity to be in. If you want to go buy cable in the market, they're going to ask you, do you want male or female, right? Because if you don't have a male and female contact in an electrical output, in an electrical connectivity, you cannot have an electrical output. It is what it is. So if you have electron and electron, you can never have 2 chemicals to bond. If you have an electron and electron, you have to have an electron and a neutron that has positive and negative in order for them to produce an electrical charge. It is what it is. If you do male and male, there will never be reproduction. If you do female and female, there will never be reproduction. So God said, go into the world and populate because he wanted it to be so. But we as humans, yes, we do go out of order because God gave us the free will and the right, and not the right, he gave us the choice to do so. So you as a human being, yes, you can do that. You can do whatever you want to do. You can live your life however you want to live it. But there is something that is called consequences, right? There shall be consequences. So you can do whatever you want to do. That's fine. That's your choice. That's why I told Dr. I can never deny anybody the right to live. But there is consequences for your action. I made a mistake when I was growing up as a little kid. A mistake that was academical mistake. I paid that price for a very long time. But if I had concentrated in school, I would have not paid that price. I would have been done with school for 3 years. But I went the next 10 years, 15 years of my life paying that price. I gotta tell you, there are consequences. Go
What are
into
those
people's lives
consequences?
that, yep, for gay people? Is that your
Yes.
question? Okay,
Yes.
let me name you some of the consequences. Some of the consequences for you yourself, for them themselves having doubt of being accepted in the society through the decisions they've made, the reaction in their body, because most of them they have the highest percentage of HIV/AIDS, and guess what they do? They spread it up to somebody that is heterosexual that comes in contact with them, right? And from there it spreads around. That's one of the consequences. The second consequence is look at their body, look at their skin. If you're a medical doctor, hold a man that is straight, a heterosexual man, hold his hand and hold the hand of a gay man that receives. I'm not talking about the one that is given, the one that receives. Hold them and feel the skin texture. The skin texture is not something to write home with. You know why? Because of what I said earlier. The body rejects the foreign fluid that comes into it. That is why you see that skin texture is the way it is. Then, should I go into the mental health? They can't keep quiet and act like men when they walk on the street. No, they want to act like women. They want to be loud. They want to be disrespectful. Well, in fact, if I start telling you, because guess what? As somebody that owns a business, when they come in contact with you, that they don't act like people that have a conjugate mental health that is prevalent in a straight man. The belligerent of their attitude tells you a lot about their characteristics and also their mental health situation. We all know that. But we can sweep it under the rug if you want to. That's okay. That's what I'm saying.
Do you know any gay people personally, or have you ever befriended any one of them? Like, are
I
they
don't.
your family? Well, everybody does, but personally.
I gotta answer that question. When I first came to this country, one of my biggest encounter was a roommate that was gay. I had a roommate that was gay for a couple of months, and the way he was acting, I knew something wasn't right, but he didn't tell me he was gay. Then he thought he was going to recruit me to be one of them. And I looked him in his face and told him, I'm an African man, I don't do that shit. Guess what? He frustrated me until I moved out of that house. The retaliation was severe. You see what I'm saying? So you gotta understand this. What you gotta understand is that if you're not for them, they will destroy you. I lost a job. Guess what? I'll tell you again. Let me tell you this because you don't understand what you're dealing with. I lost a job because you know why? We were three of us just having a conversation, and then a woman said something condescending to me that was racial, a white woman. And when I spoke back, it was a gay black man that went and reported me. A gay black man that wasn't even there just because he was passing by. He didn't even know what happened. Everybody was shocked. Then I said, you know what, fuck this shit, I was out. So what I'm trying to tell you is this. You don't know who you're dealing with. You can be friends with gays, that's okay. But get on the bad side, they'll mess you up.
Gotcha. Okay.
They can do that.
We got to get J Speed in here, people. J Speed, thank you for coming to the panel. Thank you for joining the conversation. What say you?
I'm glad you said thank you before I say what I got to say. All right.
Okay.
I don't heard all this. I don't heard all this Gandhi shit. I don't heard all this. I guess being diplomat tonight. I'm not gonna say anything about what your main subject is, but I'm gonna tie it in. If you just stick with me for a second. Good to see you, information man. I think he said the most intelligent thing, and it's not to say everybody else is not intelligent, but I think he said the most intelligent thing on the panel tonight when he started talking about the kids, because that's most important to me. Okay, the children. All right. Now, that's about the best they gonna get from my ass now. All right, about now, because you finna get the Red Fox version of this bullshit that y'all talking about tonight.
Okay.
Number one, I want to know when they go find the gene for pussy eaters and dick suckers. Okay, so see how long that shit go last. Okay, we live in a country that we used to call activity like this freaky. All right, so now we don't put all these adjectives and all this bullshit on it. Because somebody comes around and says you got to accept them, Kareem with a dress on, with some pumps on, with some Victoria's Secret doing a cartwheel. That ain't happening with me. I don't fuck with people, how they have sex in their house. And I'm talking about heterosexual speakers. I'm not even talking about them now. All right? A lot of people have asked me, would I do a U-turn? And I told them I was strong in the neck bone and the jawbone on how to do. When you weaken the neck bone and jawbone, you got to do that kind of shit. But I'm strong in the backbone, so I get it down because I'm an AKA Dickman. Okay, so let's just get that straight. All right,
okay, right.
I understand people have the right to do what they want to do in the bedroom, but for y'all to put all this science behind this bullshit, it's a waste of time. All right, look, I don't trust too many people who can take a dick and can't take a joke, because I know when I get on stage.
That's a whole stat too.
This is HBO After Dark, everybody. And make sure that you, matter of fact, check everybody's IDs and make sure everybody's adults and not minors.
Because I feel that anybody who wants to be in the public domain and they want to be accepted as everyone else, I'm going to tell jokes about all people. I even have one or two cripple jokes. One of the ones used to wear them fat ass shoes on one side. I have cripple jokes like that. So I mean, I don't have people running after me with them damn big shoes trying to fuck me up just because I made a joke about them. So this is what I'm just saying, people. All right, anything other than the kid, let them do what they want to do. But we don't have to try to put all this science behind it, trying to find out if Paul was gay or not. Look, Paul was a Roman. Most likely he probably was gay. Most all Romans was gay. So let's just be goddamn honest. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And the cousins to them are Greeks. So number one, it comes back to that same word again, freaks. All right? Look.
Freaks.
If you can go through so many things to get the same outcome, then we know you can't be born with it. All right? You can go in jail and be straight as a goddamn arrow. You have about 15, 16 Bruce bend you over and give you the work. Then all of a sudden you come out of jail twerking. So what I'm trying to tell you, that had nothing to do with how you was born. Okay? I think there was another thing said tonight about environment. All right? I can tell you right now, maybe in the black community right now, 6 out of every 10 adults probably deal with oral sex. I could take you in Africa and you bring up the word oral sex, you might get shot in the head with a fucking spear. I know some Latina women who come from country will never let you try to put your ficus in her mouth. So what I'm trying to tell you, a lot of this stuff we have merged ourselves with aliens who have taught us the most freaky thing that a human being can do. Now, if you think I'm lying, there's 5 states in America right now allow you to have sex with animals. Didn't know that, did you? So I wonder what kind of gene you was born there when you wanted to fuck the nearest rattlesnake. So what I'm trying to tell you, that anything that you do in life, it becomes like muscle memory. That's from basketball, from sports, the way you study, the things you do. And I think what's really happening in this country, we don't got too goddamn smart for ourselves. We want to label everything. The shit that you used to call bad behavior, they got 15 drugs they want to give your ass now to calm your ass down. But we know it ain't nothing but a fucking tranquilizer. All right? When we used to have a different type of tranquilizer. It was called hit across the head with a fucking frying pan or beat with a damn bamboo pole. So, but now we put it in pill form because there's no money to be made with hitting motherfuckers across the head with a frying pan or beat with some bamboo. So what I'm trying to say is, we as human, when they gave us the smartphone, they made us dumb as hell. And seem like we going to hell in a handbasket right about now. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you, J Speed. We're gonna move right along and segue right into final thoughts. I don't think, for my money, there's not much else left to say. But we're gonna do a round robin for final thoughts.
I got to get ready to go, but I just wanted to say,
go ahead.
Thank you for letting me come on.
Absolutely.
What I liked about tonight is that, we were able to have a conversation. Nobody gaslighted anybody. And even if we agree or disagree on certain areas of point of view, I'm still going to say, for the cheap seats and for the expensive seats, that where I cross the line on this whole issue is our children. At the end of the day, their brains, their bodies are in development, and we should not be pushing narratives on our kids that they can't handle. And we should not let society, because I think environment is very much a factor. We should not let society dictate to us as parents or adults how we should raise our kids and what values that we want to instill in them. At the end of the day, people are going to be with who they want to be with. I'm not worried about their bedroom. I'm more concerned about my bedroom. But I am concerned about how we can be demonized in this society if we do not agree with a person's lifestyle. Let me bring up some key areas here. I want this for food for thought. When you look at the LGBTQ community, what are some of the things that they sort of express or promote? They're promoting a sexual preference, that's one. They're promoting a sexual lifestyle, two. They are expressing the lifestyle by how they look, right? In terms of the clothes that they wear, whether they're transgender, what have you. And they're also promoting a behavior. So we have people who are trying to push on us, those of us who don't agree with certain things. They're trying to push their behavior on us, their sexuality, their sexual expression, and what have you. Ask yourself, where else in the world but America where you have people inundating all of that? Black people went through civil rights, went through Jim Crow, black codes, and all we really wanted to do is be able to be left alone, vote, what have you, have the same rights as everyone else. But you don't see black people running around this world saying, you better like the music that I like. You better dress the way I dress. You better move and talk and have swagger like me. We're not pushing our lifestyle on people, our sexual expressions on people. We're simply saying, I'm a man, I'm a woman. I should get the same rights as everyone else. Gay people have the right to have the same rights, but they do not have the right to push their expressions on us and say that we have to accept lifestyle, sexual preference, sexual behavior, and their sexual expression. Take it as it is. Thank you for letting me come up, Mandrell. And Shu Shu, thank you.
Peace to you, my brother.
All right, not a problem. Thank you, Mr. Information Man. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Information Man. Please check out his channel, like and subscribe. Dope content this guy makes. And again, salute to the Information Man. Thank you for coming. You're always welcome. And let's see, who's next?
The name Information Man.
Yes, his name Information Man. Yes. Dope content over there. But what's the name of my man here with the dreads?
Mr. Provocative. How you doing?
Mr. Provocative. There you go, man. Yeah. I just hadn't seen you pop up on that panel before, so that's why I didn't remember your name.
Well, I appreciate the content. You guys had a great topic. Shu Shu, Mandrell, I appreciate y'all letting me up. My final thought is in alignment with Information Man as well. Our children should be our priority. I don't have any care of what you do sexually. That is your personal business. Keyword, personal business. But when that personal business becomes a discussion that you're able to openly have with strangers' children, you're not talking about any kind of rights you're fighting for. You're not talking about just your feelings. You're talking about your sexuality. You're pushing your sexuality, and I don't know where that has a place in anyone's classroom. And I think right there is where I draw the line, and where I have to conclude that is where the agenda starts. Your children. To the conditioning of the next generation of youth to a normalizing behavior that some in what we call a Christian nation would deem an abomination, or we would deem sinful. So it's hard to push that that boulder uphill, because this is supposedly a Christian nation where we are all, especially if you're raised up in the black household, all are taught that that's something that we should not be doing. So that's a big hill to climb. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying you don't have no place in a society, because it's always existed. All throughout time, you've had homosexuality. Of course, trans is different, but that behavior is your behavior. But again, it's a sexuality. And for you to be labeled, and I have to say this, being called transphobic carry the same weight as being called anti-Semitic. And I don't think that's not a coincidence, that you have that much power. What do you call black people who are being feel like they're being mistreated? What word do we have that carries that type of weight? We don't have one. So someone has to empower that word. So again, like I said, it's a sexuality, and once it starts to bleed over into our children are learning, we have to at some point have a standard and take a stand, because if they can push that on your children, or they can force that into your children's classroom, then they are showing you in your face, you have come no further than the property you were once. That we could come in your classroom and teach your children about what we do in our bedroom and how we're going to normalize it, and it ain't nothing your parents can do about it. So we have to have some kind of standard, and we have to push back somewhere, because if you allow them to take the next generation of youth and tell them what is normal and what is not normal, then you already lost your future. So I'm gonna rest on that.
All right, thank you very much, Corey Hager.
I have to agree with the last two gentlemen. We need to stop the predation on the kids for somebody else's sexual appetite. Stop following leaders blindly. I do remember somebody saying that. there are so many things that are wrong today, and there are so many people saying that they are the ones that are responsible for giving us our rights, and yet they constantly infringe on our freedom of opinion, of free speech, and then they give extra freedom to people who are basically against us and the way we think when we're supposed to be equal. And that goes across the board. Nobody should have the right to tell you what happens inside your own home to your own kids. I mean, outside of abuse or neglect, that's different. But here they're actually California's legislature just passed a law that grown people can now have sex with consenting minors. In what country is that legal?
This one.
It's not legal. I don't care what maniac thought that up. That is like absolute evil. You're literally stealing somebody's childhood for your own sexual gratification, I guess. And you think you have the right to do it. That's messed up. I do have one question though. Shu Shu, you are heterosexual, right? For speaking for all the single men in the country, in the world.
Yes, I am.
Oh, a big weight's been lifted off all of us. Anyway, I'll land with that.
All right. Thank you very much, Corey Hager.
Thank you, Corey.
Yeah, I think we need to get this together before we get more Pastor Mannings in the world. But let's see, Black David. You got any final thoughts?
Number one.
Okay,
Number
come on now.
one.
Mm-hmm.
Mandrell is too short for his age.
Cool.
Hey,
Number
yo.
2. You need to get a new high chair. Number 3. This has been a great show. I'm enjoying the conversation.
Number
I'm not
3.
gonna lie. Number 4. Man,
number
you need to
4.
get darker and start trying to imitate me.
Number 5.
If you're not careful, I'll give you an African woman to get laid up to. Number 6. I will throw you behind back to Africa if you're not careful, Mandrell.
Number 7.
And Mandrell, if you don't get laid, you're in trouble.
Number 8.
Shu Shu, look out for your brothers.
Number 9.
Shu Shu, find a woman for your brother. Big time.
Thank you, Black David, for that ridiculous commentary. Feel free to never come. Feel free to never come back. Now, next will be.
I work here.
Feel free to. Next we'll have Ikane. Ikane, final thoughts, please, sir.
Yeah. My final thought is this. You got put it this way. Back in Greece, right? Alexander the Great was known for his homosexuality because he never reproduced, right? So his descendant never happened. Then, if you go to the Roman Empire, the Romans were known for a lot of wars. They fought many wars just like the Greeks. They went around the world, especially the Mediterranean, fighting wars. And that led to one thing, a lot of sexual activity between men and men. So what the Romans did when they came home, most of their wives have kids already while they were at war. What does it mean? They were in the fathers, right? So they continued that lifestyle. Then when the church was created, a lot of these men and their ideas and what they came home with went into the church. So the church actually had men that wouldn't marry because the church prohibited them from marrying because there were a lot of gay men also in that fold. So it stood up to today. So what I'm trying to say in essence is this. There are consequences when things like this happen. It affects reproduction. In Africa, it is apparent that a man has a child especially a male child. And the reason why a man has to have a child, especially a male child, is so that his seed will not cease. It's like you came and left without leaving a legacy behind. So when you engage into something that you wholeheartedly will not reproduce something for you, just look at that. Your generation ceases just because of your decision. So it is of consequential when we make decisions that will affect us like this. So homosexuality is not something you switch on or switch off however you want. It is, but rather it is a decision that we made based on how we feel that moment. We have made decisions based on our feelings, and some of our decisions are just for us to belong among fools, belong with people, be able to relate, be able to be accepted. Just like I said earlier, some of us, when we were growing up, we just want to belong to this class, even though we are not part of that class. But we want to belong by doing things that we're not qualified to do. Just like some of us will earn $50,000 a year, but we spend $70,000 because we just want to live by the Joneses. There are consequences to our actions, right? There are consequences to our actions. So I'm alone in there.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for coming. Yusuf?
So, well, I say live and let live. Let these people live their lives and be who they are. But at the same time, that's not to justify their militant and extreme behavior of the select few who are the most vocal out of that group and the most extreme in terms of transgenderism and pushing certain values and, you know, infiltrating kids' schools and drag queen and all this other weird stuff. That's way extreme. But the vast majority of gay people that I've met, male and female, are not like that at all. But every group has their militant faction. You have Black people who have first, you know, Black power. You know, they fought for their rights. They got their rights, and now we have quote unquote Black Lives Matter. They're crying wolf at every single little. They get a scrape on the knee and they say it's racism. You have, you know, of course, women who fought for their rights. They got it. Everything they wanted and more, and now it's pushing into we want to be equal to men, to now we are better than men. Of course, you have white people who felt the same at one point in time in this country, who thought they were superior to us. So it's any group that has any sort of power, no matter if they're gay, they're straight, they're lesbian, they're women, they're male, whatever. There's going to be a human element to it, and a perverted or perversion of what it is that they're fighting for. Secondly, there's a lot of talk about kids, you know, what about the children? Save the children, all that. But the reality is that a lot of parents, if they were to have a gay child themselves and recognize that in their child, they would be the first ones to cause that emotional trauma in that child and teaching them in many ways that it's not right to be that way. Every parent knows, oh, my son prefers to play with Barbies a lot more than he likes to play with fire trucks. That's odd, but that's not the way I want to raise him. That's not the way I want to teach him. So let me get him straight, and then he'll make that decision when he becomes of age. And that child, of course, it's not as easy as just making a decision because they were shamed into having those natural feelings in the first place, caused oftentimes by the people who raised them. So very little of it has to do with the school perpetuating that, although that is becoming an issue is far from as pressing of an issue as what's taking place in that child's home. Is who they are being fostered and are they being cared for who they really are genuinely, as opposed to what ideals that parent has for that child and how they want them to grow up. And if they want to make the choice to be gay, then they'll do it. But those kids end up typically being in the closet for many, many years before they eventually come out the closet. And then the parents is usually the ones that's shocked. But we don't want to talk about that because, well, that's just not what I promote, because I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I'm this, I'm that. I believe in God, and what they believe is sin, but not my child. They can't possibly be like that. But God has a funny way of humbling a lot of people in that way. And lastly, it's clear to me that some people have had some traumatic experiences with homosexuals. Everyone has been pushed upon aggressively by different people, homosexuals, straight people, whatever. So that can also shape your perspective about that particular group of people. I've seen both spectrums of it, but I know not to lump them all into one category, because the vast majority are respectful. Yes, they will try to hit on you, but the vast majority are not going to try to push you in the corner and make you do something you don't want to do. They're going to shoot their shot just like a straight woman would shoot their shot. So again, human nature, they're not much different from straight people. And that's it. That's all I got to say, man.
Thank you very much. We're going to drop you down. JT, state your case and get out of here.
Oh, Lord.
Or hang around for the after show, whichever you like. I don't care. You're in Detroit. Doesn't matter.
What up, though?
What up, though?
Yeah, what up,
I know
though?
what it is.
Love a drink of water and die, JT. That's what you
That's terrible.
There's lead in the water up there and all kind of minerals.
It's not lead in the water, and not where I'm at.
That's Flint.
That's Flint.
You fat, bald-headed, no-neck midget, I sentence you to 3,000 lashes for conduct unbecoming a black man.
You're going to get off my city.
I don't know why y'all mad at me. Y'all did it, and you went bankrupt. I don't know how a city goes bankrupt.
You can stop it.
Okay.
You see what I mean? That Shu Shu, he offends me every time he talk to me.
And y'all talk about racism, but you see what we do about.
You can stop it.
You see what we do with racists down here. So we don't have them problems.
Hey, shout out to the white chair. I ain't like
I'm saying, right? Battle at the riverfront.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you for coming, JT. For real.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Great conversation like usual, man. Y'all been cooking for 2 months, 3 months now, man. Y'all really been doing some work, putting some work in. Great perspective. My whole thing is, how long do we care about the children? Is it until they end up becoming 18? And then if they eventually get on the other side, now we stop caring about them? Or do we care about the children because they eventually become adults? And we worry about how they're influenced and molded while they're children until they start getting into teen years. And then ultimately adult years, and then they will start influencing, the community. The argument about, this whole thing of if a person was born gay, if they wasn't, the majority of us really don't care. What we want to do is literally live in harmony with people, man. And then we die. And that's basically it. But what we see is what this title was, what is a gay agenda? Is there a gay agenda? We have to exploit, we have to exploit that. We have to exploit it if that in fact is. And in my opinion, it is. I don't think that is just Dr. Bennett. Mr. Bennett already said it. It's so many other things, especially what we have to deal with when it comes down to firearms and underage children, dealing with that whole thing with the fatalities behind the misuse of adults having firearms in children's in their, in their grasp. So we also have, so many other things, but this right here is something that I'm glad we're starting to speak on it, where people are not just being dismissive based off of the questions that we have and the conversations we're trying to build. But that's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna land that, man. Please follow me on What We Know podcast. I enjoyed the conversation, Mandrell, Shu Shu. I'm glad because it's been a minute since I got a chance to actually catch you guys live, and I'm glad I got a chance to get up here. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And Shu Shu, aren't you getting ready to make your debut? Isn't the season coming this November?
So about yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm gonna be right there waiting. I ain't gonna watch none but the one that you on. So you gotta just tell me that. And I'm gonna cancel my subscription. I'll be like, that's
Hey,
all
That's what's up.
No, I enjoy you guys, man. I enjoy the platform, and hey man, y'all keep going, keep doing what y'all do.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, JT. Appreciate it. Absolutely. Now it is time. The time has come for the one and only J Speed to turn the lights out.
All right.
All right.
I hope y'all ain't scared of the dark.
Oh, we're not.
All right. Oh, I know you not. But and I would like for y'all to be up while I talk. I want to see y'all face expression because I want to know what I'm going too far.
Yeah, bring us back to that, man. Bring us back.
I don't care. All right.
Okay.
I am a person, believe that you could be dealing with a lot of things at a lot of different times because that's what I do. I deal with people with a lot of different problems at a lot of different times. But I do feel sorry for two things. I feel sorry for the babies, and I feel sorry for the sperm cells. Let me give you a little understanding of what I just said. I have came to the terminology or the thought, the science behind it. There may be a problem with babies when they're in their mama's stomach. And I believe that a lot of this might come from dick dodging. I have expressed this on one or two platforms that when a woman is pregnant and you trying to have sex with that woman up to the 9 month. Now that baby is in there sucking his thumb. Well, that's the position most doctors say the baby's doing. But there may be a male child in that stomach. And so I would recommend as when the woman lets you know she's pregnant, sex is out. I know that can be a lot of hard for a lot of guys, but you never know what you might be developing, because some babies just stand still and they don't do a dick dodging. And then there's some babies who probably be good athletes and they do a lot of dick dodging and never get poked or anything. So I'm just saying, when you put the math behind it, you put the biology behind it, you can see where you can probably call traumatized from a baby in a woman's stomach. Number two, why I feel sorry for the sperm cell, because the sperm cell is our friend. They're really our friend. And just think about it. You're a sperm cell, you're inside of a male, and you're railing up and you're ready to go. The engine's been started up and you're telling all the other sperm cells, the race is going to begin. And then, boom, you shoot out the damn cannon. And you end up in a shitty deal. Now, I don't know what kind of warning system sperm cells have to stop the rest of them from coming out, but I think it's a little too late. So what I'm saying is, if you look at this magnificent body we gave, and it's almost just like the streets. You have one-way streets, you have two-way streets, you have four-way highways, five-way highways. These are just things in common sense. The ass is a one-way street. And I'm talking to you heterosexuals too. That don't pose to be compromised. It's made for one thing and one thing only, and that's a drop. All right? So, and for you who don't think we can have power in our words, I had a person, I worked in Hollywood for 35 years, and I had a person to tell me he thought that I was homophobic. And I took it, and I told him what I thought about him. I told him I thought he was vaginophobic. You scared of pussy. And no more than he could prove that I was homophobic, that he could prove he wasn't scared of pussy. So that ended that conversation real quick. So there's ways to talk to people who's trying to talk to you and make you feel guilty about who you are, what you are. And yes, I've come from the old school, and I understand that one gentleman said if a person hit on me, you wink at me at my age and I come from the old school, you and a raccoon will look pretty much alike. Because I don't play that. And you should know the people you can play that shit with and the people you can't. I'm not gonna come in your bedroom and kick somebody's penis out of your mouth. Don't be fucking with me because I'm heterosexual and you should know by you winking at me, because most of you say you want straight men. Not all straight men are like that. All right. So I'm gonna end it at that. And so I don't feel like nobody should go out there and corrupt somebody else's lifestyle, but I don't think someone else should come back and try to corrupt our lifestyle too. Let's just get along, leave our children alone, and please think about the sperm cells.
Thank you very much. JSP says some of them gonna dodge it, and some of them just gonna get stuck. Yeah. Thank you, JSP. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Hang back for the after show if you could.
I'm sorry. She take that deep breath.
Let it out.
Unbreak my heart, say you love me again. Undo this hurt you caused when you walked out the door and walked out of my life. Unraise.
I understand.
Right.
It's all right. Let it out. It's all right. It's all right, man.
Oh,
it's all right, man. It's all right. I understand. I understand.
Okay. Sorry.
You in her DM, I'm in her mouth, we not the same. Flipping the funk, the heat, the fire, got the flame. Came with the gift, the gab, and blessed with lots of game. Be mad at me, they know I'm not to blame. You in her DM, I'm in her mouth, we not the same.
We just had a conversation about homosexuals, and then he flashed this one on the screen. You're Pastor Man. You know what I should have done? I should have sent Black David that link.
No, because the string would have straight got snatched.
You think so?
Yes.
For playing Pastor Manning?
Yes. No.
No, we'd have offended somebody with that one though.
Of course.
My name is Rosa. Say I'm supposed to sit in the back, but I'm tired here, so I'm finna sit right closer. Come get me up then. It's gonna take about 3, 4, 5 men. And I ain't finna repeat myself again. Fight me. Somebody get her. My name is Eve. I didn't believe. I trusted Satan, ate that apple, he deceived. And yeah, I'm naked. I thought I was awakened. I'm the first to do it. Y'all my daughters, we related. Trick on Big Harry. Don't call me slave hoe. The hell? From the underground railroad, busted down mouth of dope. When I say run, you better go. In the dark, that Glocky glow.
The hell? Sorry.
All right, listen. I got something to say to all you out there who think this is a Christian nation. It in fact is not. This is in fact not a Christian nation. It was never founded on Christianity. Most of the founding fathers were indeed atheists. For example, Quoth Benjamin Franklin. Yes, Quoth. You like that one?
No.
Yeah. Hey, listen. I'm surgical with these words now.
Oh Lord.
Just saying. Quoth Benjamin Franklin, and I read, lighthouses are more useful than churches.
Oh yeah, he did say that.
Here's another one. This would be the best of all possible worlds if there were no religion in it. That was John Adams.
Yeah.
One more time.
Mm-hmm.
Christianity is the most perverted system that ever shown to man. Thomas Jefferson. The vast majority of our founding fathers were indeed atheists. They were not God believers, let alone religious believers.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So this whole thing about hating on the gays and the trans whatevers because of religion, no.
Mm-hmm.
This nation was, because of religion, no. Keep religion out of it. Those are human beings, okay? Sentient human beings. And they deserve to be treated as such. If you want to be treated with respect as a human being, you don't want to be seen as an N-word, monkey, mongrel, tar baby, porch monkey, the whole nine. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want white people calling you that, then don't treat people of the LGBT community like that. Treat them like people.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah.
Well, he likes men. Like, doesn't that matter to you? No, what do you think? No, it doesn't matter. They're just people.
Yeah.
What do I care? You know what I mean? So what? Anyway, there you have it. No, this country is not founded on Christian values or Christian anything. So keep your religion out of your judgment of people. In fact, because you're Christian, you're not supposed to be judging people in the first place and telling them that they're going to hell because of their lifestyle. There are things in your lifestyle that's going to cause you to go to hell, I'm quite sure, because you're human. And everybody does things that God doesn't like.
That's true.
This is no different.
That's true.
All I'm saying, man, I don't see what the big deal is. I don't see what the big argument is. And the thing about the kids, though, I do understand that.
Yeah.
Keep the sexuality stuff away from children.
Yeah.
Those are not your kids. You don't have any say so.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I'm with J Speed and Information Man when it comes to the children. Yeah, that's my thing. You know me. My whole thing is don't try to force your ideas on other people.
Right.
And leave it away from children.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that's the biggest issue. People feel like it's all being like forced upon them,
mm-hmm.
which is like the biggest like pushback that the community is getting. It's like you're trying to make us accept or like embrace something that we're not ready to accept. You know what I mean? And so like baby steps.
Right. Change comes slowly.
You know, just baby steps. And like granted, like with the children, like I said earlier, I can kind of understand like letting like, you know, I guess the youth know that there are people who out there who are gay. And because the bottom line is like, you know, people who are of the, you know, the LGBT community, they didn't figure out that they were gay like once they hit adulthood. Like they knew something about them was different as
way before that.
Right. You know, but the thing is, I think that, you know, the unfortunate thing is when it comes to sex and sexuality, like that is a conversation that should be left to the parents, not for like schools, not for the world, because that is invasive, that's intrusive. Like that's too much. Whether or not the parents want to have a conversation about, you know, homosexuality and all this other stuff, I mean, that's up to the parent, you know, that's their child. But I mean, you know, as far as the parents, you got to have a conversation with your kids, whether you want to or not. Of course, it's uncomfortable, but the bottom line is this is the world they live in, the world they exist in, and it is, while it is your job as a parent to protect your children, it is ultimately your job to prepare them to go off into the world. And while you can hide things, you can shelter things from them as children while they're under your watch, your protection. But when they go off into the world, you cannot hide things from them. You cannot shelter things from them. You can protect them from that. So you can either help them out or do them a disservice. That decision is ultimately yours. As far as the LGBT community, like I said, once again, it's just baby steps, y'all. Just baby steps.
Just take it easy. We still dealing with racism, and that was done 70 years ago. Okay.
Right.
And people still don't accept black people as equals. So I mean, this is new to them. And plus, Bible, roll tide.
Yeah.
You got that whole thing.
Here's the ultimate thing too, you gotta remember. There are just some people who believe what they believe and it ain't changing. So the bottom line is you can try and force feed it down somebody's throat, but if they don't want to believe it, they don't want to accept it, they're just not. It's best that you not waste your time and energy on that and just continue on, move on with your life and live your life.
Right. And be an awesome person.
Right. Be an awesome person. That's what's up. But with that being said, y'all, thank you everyone for tuning in to the show. Thank you all for commenting in the chat. Thank you to all our panelists for coming up. We appreciate y'all. Thank you, Blackman Unfiltered, for having us on your platform. Thank you, Black David, for admin in the show too. We just got to shout you out.
You know,
we appreciate you. You know, Mandrell might bark from time to time, but he appreciates you too. He really do.
No, don't tell him that. He'll get lazy.
Oh no. You see
Don't
that?
start right now, shortstop. I'll get you a high chair for your Christmas.
I get you. When you learn to speak English, then you can throw out jokes. Okay, how about that?
Yeah,
exactly. That's what I thought.
So that big man, I'm not.
That's what you get, Kunta. But anyway, thank you for coming out, everybody. That's been our show this week. We will see you again next week with something else. Sure, I got to put our heads together tomorrow. I got to put my show on my YouTube channel, The Big Picture. I'll be doing another live stream Friday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time in the afternoon. And I'm doing it that time slot because no one else is doing anything. Right. I got the internet all to myself. So, okay, right. So you can listen to it while you're at work or whatever it is you're doing. Mr. Bennett's going to be there, and so will Jay Speed. We'll be talking about nutrition. Okay. I got a few videos that I've been editing with some very good information as to, what happens when you eat vegetables. So you actually get to see, have scientists explain to you what happens to your body when you're eating vegetables. Then I got another one saying what happens to your body when you're eating meat.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's all about nutrition. Listen to Beautifully Animated Speaks. What time again, Mandrell? 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. You live in Houston, Bass. So that's the same time, 2 p.m. Central. On my
dumbass.
Thank you very much. Exactly. See, finally, he's on cue for something.
Okay. Anyway, y'all, let's get out. We out of here.
Yeah, and I've been dropping the link to my channel periodically throughout the stream, but I'm going to drop it one last time, people, so you guys can go ahead and hop over there and give me a subscribe. It's brand, like I said, it's a brand new channel. I've only had it 3 weeks now. Yeah, 3 weeks now. Yeah, go over there and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll know when I go live and when I drop pre-recorded content, because there's a series that I've been working on and Shu's helping me edit the videos, much to her chagrin and displeasure. But yeah,
All right.
get all that.
Long story short, y'all, support the big picture. Okay, that's the big picture of it all.
That's right. That's right. Support it. I'm so sleepy.
Yeah, I know.
I really am.
You need me.
You got to bring ass to get ass.
And we did this weekend, Saturday, didn't we? The battle at the riverfront.
Okay.
We brought yeah. You want to call us the N-word? We'll fix that right on up, partner.
Oh Jesus.
And tune your ass up. That's right.
The
The rest of America, that's how it's done. Take note. This is why we don't have a race problem in the tri-state area. That's